What up, what up, what up, what up? A2HH Live, Coop, and myself, Mike D. We're in the building on a Wednesday. How we doing, sir? Man, we got a lot to talk about, man. I'm sorry I think the Monday show was kind of cut short, but I felt like we was cooking, you know what I'm saying? Like we was actually getting somewhere with the Monday show because people were really engaged too. But
yeah, we can kind of pick up where we left off.
Yeah, it's a to be continued type of show.
Well, Maurice slid in with some posse cut talk.
I heard a little bit of it. Update me a little bit.
I mean, I told him I thought So Appalled might be the best posse cut record ever.
Ooh, ever.
Well, it's because of the middle part, because it's like it has a great ending and a great beginning and an awesome beat. And throwing the RZA in at the end was like really nice, but it's like, I don't know if there's a posse cut record that has the strength of like the Jay-Z and Pusha T verses in the middle of the song.
All right, I guess my first thing would be, what do we consider a posse cut? Is it the amount of MCs that's on it? Is it the amount of acts?
More.
I would say 4 or more too. And I would say also, I would say particularly, does it have to be multiple acts or just 4 MCs? Because what if it's, let's just say, the Lox and another person?
Right.
The Lox and DMX, because like Money, Power, and Respect, that's not a posse cut. Even though Kim is on the...
I think that kind of is a posse cut, though. That's what I'm saying.
I think they're a group.
So I had the Wu-Tang talk, too. It's like, are the Wu-Tang records posse cuts?
No. They're a group. So I think you got to have multiple acts.
So it has to be 4 separate MCs? Is that what you're saying? Or what does it have to be?
I think so.
So it's like EPMD and Das FX is not a posse cut?
2 groups coming together.
Or 8 Ball and MJG and Outkast, Throw Your Hands?
I don't feel like that's a posse cut.
That
that's
is.
So you're telling me International
MCs.
Players Anthem is a posse cut?
Very much so.
It's 2 groups just collaborating. It's just 2 acts. Now, if we had, I think Pocket Full of Stones is a posse cut when you got 8 Ball, MJG, UGK, and Master P. Because how do we decipher like 2 acts?
I just need to hear 4 verses from 4 different people. So it's like, so you're saying
East 1999 is a posse cut. The whole album.
That's why I brought up the Wu-Tang thing.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen, well, maybe this recent era hadn't seen like, you know, a group of 4 MCs really take on all the songs on the album, but we've seen that before, and we don't consider those posse cuts. Like Mo Murder, First of the Month, not a posse cut.
Okay.
Stefan Youngblood with the super chat says, Jadakiss is a posse cut king. Who is the posse cut king? Is it Busta? I think we hurrah Busta the most for that, right?
I mean, according to your definition of a posse cut, a lot of the Lox posse cuts don't count. Like 24 Hours to Live, is that not a posse cut?
I think that is.
Okay, but
that's multiple acts. That got Mace. Mace is on there. The Lox, Black Rob, and X. Yeah. It makes it difficult when groups collaborate with somebody. I think Money, Power, and Respect is the best example. I don't think people kind of look at that as a posse cut.
So you're saying like a posse cut is more like 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
I Shot Your remix. Flavor in Your Ear remix.
Yeah.
The Symphony.
Like.
So Appalled.
That's 4 individual acts that we're not used to hearing together. I think it's a little different when...
I'm way more comfortable picking So Appalled after that, because the Symphony would be the only other record that I would have to go back to.
Because then we would say Notorious Thugs is a posse cut, right?
I feel what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
Because we always hear, you know, Crazy, Lazy, and Busy together. So it's different when you have a So Appalled where you don't hear Pusha, Jay, Kanye, and Saha together as much.
So Fourth Chamber on Liquid Swords isn't a posse cut.
Nah, it's
Wu
not.
Gambino's on the purple tape.
Unfortunately, it's
Guillotine.
It's
no,
not, unfortunately.
Not a posse cut. Not even Rawhide.
Because those guys are a group. They're used to making records together. So I think that it would be unfair.
How used to each other were they?
I think they were more used to each other than Jay and Saha and Pusha.
Okay, that's fair.
You know what I'm saying? Like, these guys never really make songs together. So when you have a Lox or a Bone or, even, I think the most difficult thing is that Outkast.
So is Watch for the Hook a posse cut?
Yes.
Okay.
because it's separate acts, right? You got Witch Doctor, who's a solo artist. You got Cool Breeze, who's a solo artist. You got Outkast, which is a duo, and you got Goody Mob. That's 4 different acts. They all kind of make music together separately, but never really together.
I feel better about So Appalled.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, by that definition, So Appalled kind of rises up to the top. You say ever, though?
Other than the symphony, name 4 better verses. I mean, because here's the thing about it. It's like, lyrically, oh, yeah, it's the best lyrically, in my opinion.
Thumbs up in the chat, everybody. We live
Think
right
about
now.
it. Kanye's verse is the weak verse, Mike.
Well, I mean,
housekeeping. I mean, goddamn, one time.
we're going to talk about Kanye briefly on the show because Late Registration, your favorite Kanye album, is celebrating the anniversary.
Yeah.
I think that his gift when it comes to being an MC, and I know we kind of discount Kanye as an MC because he's had writing help somewhere or another, but I think his gift to me as an MC is the fact that he could say things that other MCs can't and make it work. Like, I don't see anybody being able to say light-skinned friend look like Michael Jackson, dark-skinned friend look like Michael Jackson. And he did that on that record, too, which you're talking about on Soul Paul. Like you said, housekeeping, goddamn. One time, let it be a bad bitch. Like, who can say that on a record? Like, the wit that he comes with, I think that we need to account for that, too, when we talk about him on an all-time list.
He has a very like dry and dark humor.
Right.
It's not Biggie, but it's kind of like shades of that. It's like a little dark, a little dry. Not as, but you know, he said stuff where it's like, oh, it's like, yeah, this dude.
Now, people in the chat are saying something that I think we need to discuss.
What?
John Blaze.
John Blaze is up there, but here's what I mean with John Blaze. It's like, well, and this is no disrespect to Kiss or Ray's verse. Oh, I mean, after the Nas and Pun verse, Mike, it's a drop-off. I'm sorry. It's a drop-off on the record after the Nas and the Pun verse. That's what I'm saying. So Appalled keeps going.
You think bar for bar, So Appalled's better than 4-3-2-1?
I would lean on the I Shot You remix.
That's a big
more
one,
than I would lean on 4-3-2-1.
I was gonna go there. I wanted to start with 4-3-2-1.
Yeah, no. That's not no, because Meth and all of them guys got better guest appearances and bar work than that.
Hot Nicks and this one for all the sick ones afflicting. Poison it, dark signals. Best believe finger itching with 2 broke legs.
How should I begin this? I'm just so offended. How much I must have mentioned about all these fucking beginners. I'm so appalled. I might buy them all.
You don't think Cannabis verse is better than everybody's verse on there?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
But it's like,
Cannabis
I'm the illest nigga alive. Watch me prove it. I snatched the crown with your head still attached to it. Cannabis the type to fight for mics, beating niggas to death and beating dead niggas to life. If you look at me long enough, start to reach your thoughts if the signal is strong enough. And then I call you bluff like, yo, how many rhymes you got? I can go on for more millenniums than monsters got in the car lot. I don't know, man. And it's nowhere to run to when I confront you. I call you bluff like you had a phone number. Who want to see Cannabis get wild? Who want to get shot down by air service missile or taking on and on, shape, size, and forms to get on? Any nigga who ain't close enough to shit on. 0 to 60.
Better than that.
I'm already doing 100 when I'm blunting. I get a mic to any nigga that want it. I don't know, man.
It's just saying stuff, Mike. That's what
just
I'm saying.
Just saying stuff. That's the Eminem stuff, right?
It don't mean nothing, though. What does it mean, Mike? Like, for real, like, look at it now. It's like, what does it mean? That shit don't mean nothing.
Somebody said exactly what I was thinking when I was spitting it. It said, that shit was so dope when I was a kid.
When I was a kid. That's what I'm saying. It's like, listen to what you just said. It's like, oh, no. It's like, oh, that's cool.
I was thinking that when I was rapping it, too. I was like, yeah, when I was a kid, this shit was crazy. But now it's like, No, I'm with you. I Shot You. Remix.
Yeah, the I Shot You remix maybe has
Keith Murray,
Prodigy. The Foxy verse is great. All the verses on the I Shot You remix are great, so that would be one. I bought up the Flavor in Your Ear remix, but I just feel like, and I like Craig Mack and LL's verse, but I mean Biggie and Busta are like kind of like the scene stealers of the song, so that's up there.
Bobbin remix. Is that a posse cut? Yeah, it is.
It is a posse cut. I don't know if it's up there. I don't know if the quality is up there though.
Mentally stab your brain with the pain. What other niggas spit mad game, your favorite? I spit flame.
What's your favorite posse cut record?
Whew. I don't know, man. It's so many. I mean,
I was just listening to So Appalled, and it's like I can't remember the last time there was a posse cut record that great. Like I know somebody in the chat said One Train. I don't think One Train is So
You know what?
Appalled level.
I might throw you guys for a loop on this. I always thought that Sway and Tech, the anthem posse cut was incredible.
Okay, that's going back, Mike.
It's
like
like
98?
1999, yeah.
98,
And you know what? And that's the record when I heard Eminem, and I was like, you know what? This guy who made "Hi, My Name" is he can rap. No, because he did his thing on there.
What's I say? I am so outrageous. I wear my pride on my sleeve like a bracelet. If God had an iPod, I'd be on his playlist. My name is, hold on, what do he say? My cup overrunneth with hundreds. Dumb it, damn it. Allow for me to waste it. The new commandment, thou shalt not hate, kid. My movement is like the civil rights. I'm Ralph David Abernathy. So call my lady Rosa Parks. I am nothing like them niggas, baby. Those are marks. I met this girl on Valentine's Day. Fucked her in May. She found out about April, so she chose to March. Damn, another broken heart. I keep bitches by the twos, nigga. Noah's Ark. Nah. What cannabis verse? What cannabis verse? What cannabis verse talking about?
Listen, man, I love Sci-Hi. And you know, the Black History Project, I think, is one of the most underrated mixtapes of its era, period. We got to get Sci-Hi on the couch, man. We got to get him on the show.
I think it's between the Symphony and So Appalled and maybe the I Shot You remix.
Shout out to everybody in the room. Thumbs up in the chat. Let everybody know we live. Ahmad with the super chat says, peace. Did y'all peep DJ Muggs' Soul Assassins 3? I think the album is dope. CeeLo killed it. Ghost and West Side make a perfect combo. We were actually going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Jay Short with the super chat says, from a historical perspective, it's Flavor in Your Ear or Benjamin's.
Benjamin's is up there.
That might be the best posse
Benjamin's
cut
is up there.
I think that's the best posse cut ever.
You could argue that. Yeah.
Sonically, it's So Appalled. And all the MCs on So Appalled had their own flavor.
Yeah.
Stefan Youngblood with the super chat says, I'm So Appalled has the hardest beat as a posse cut, but lyrically, I don't know. I think the hardest beat goes all about the Benjamins, in my opinion.
See, okay, so let me see.
What I want to do.
Yeah, it has the beginning. It definitely has the ending with Kim and Big.
Jeez.
It's
I
a big,
mean,
big
the middle
record.
is crazy too.
Yeah. No.
Cop those, Colossal, Size Picasso. There is no weak moment on All About the Benjamins.
I feel that way about So Appalled too, but yeah, you could say that because I mean, of course, the Benjamins is a much, much bigger record.
Because if we put Puffy's verse up against Kanye's, I got Puffy on that one.
Well, Jadakiss wrote it.
Well, I mean, you know, I'm just saying. I mean, don't worry who writes Puff's rhymes, man.
Don't worry.
But
if I write rhymes, I write checks.
I think he does have one of the most underrated posse cuts, and that's on Forever. It's the one with Shine. Well, I think G Dep's on there, CeeLo, Busta Rhymes, Redman. You didn't like that posse cut.
Every time you talk about it, I'm like, yeah, you can keep that.
It's a dope posse cut, man.
It's good. It's been a lot of great posse cuts.
But are we at the point in hip hop where we're not going to get posse cuts anymore?
Feels that way.
Yeah. I do think that, do you think that Black Lip Bastard remix is considered a posse cut, even though J-Rock, Q, Soul, and Kendrick are technically a group that's never put out any music?
Well, they're used to recording music together, Mike.
Okay, well, there it is. But how many songs do they literally have together?
Well, Mike, that's why I keep telling you about Wu-Tang Clan. It's like really outside of Ray and Ghost. It's like how many songs do these guys really, really have together?
How many Wu-Tang songs are there that are like Triumph? Excuse me.
There's not. There's just Protect Your Neck. There's Protect Your Neck Part 2, The Jump Off. There's Triumph. The rest of them, like some of them have 6. Very few of them have 6. Most of them have 4. Some of them have 5. They'll do 5 when they're doing like the group album thing. But even over time with that, they kind of even cut that formula after kind of like Wu-Tang Forever. It's like Bells of War is like, how many of them's on Bells of War? There's Meth.
I think it's about 7 on
six,
something like
6
that.
or 7. Yeah.
Stephon Youngblood with the super chat says, what do y'all think about the Blackout?
Oh, Blackout from DMX's album. The Locks and Jay and DMX.
Yep.
I love Jadakiss's verse, but I feel like Niggas Done Started Something feels like a better record.
Whoo, now that's a posse cut.
Niggas Done Started Something feels like a better record than Blackout, don't you think?
It is.
It is.
There's
it's on
never
the better
been
album.
a point in my life where
I think Kiss has the best verse between the 2 songs on Blackout, but outside of that verse.
Who you think has the best verse on Niggas Done Started Something?
It's DMX.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It's DMX.
Yo, DMX was going crazy on that album, man.
It's one of the best rap albums ever.
It is because of his performance. And I'm gonna say something. And I know the haters are gonna go crazy on this one, but as a solo performer and solo performance, even the great Jay-Z doesn't have a moment like It's Dark and Hell Is Hot.
That's what I was saying. It's like
Doesn't. Just doesn't.
Do you think It's Dark and Hell Is Hot is better than Reasonable Doubt? Want to station head and find out?
You know, again, man, I'm the person that got on this show and gave the nod to It's Dark and Hell Is Hot over Ready to Die. So I'm not going to underestimate It's Dark and Hell Is Hot.
You really shouldn't.
I think that, let me get this super chat. Joe Young with the super chat says, what's up, guys? I love So Appalled 4321. It's great. Yeah, it is. Ab Studio says, Puffy, Journey Through Life. Amazing track. Yeah. Jay Short with the super chat says, y'all forgot about So Fly. That's definitely top 5. The beat is fire too. And Mace had the best verse on Niggas Done Started Something. Just saying. I disagree with that. But this is what I'm going to say. When it comes to It's Dark and Hell Is Hot, this man gave us his life. You know, I don't really think there's a weak moment on that album because even in the quote-unquote weak moments, he still gave you his life. Like Reasonable Doubt has the coming of age moment where that's kind of like that song sounded like it was dated. It sounded like it was probably recorded first as well. I don't think Regrets is a quote-unquote weak song, but I think it's a weaker moment on that album because of how high the levels are on Reasonable Doubt. I think Jay's a better lyricist on Reasonable Doubt, but I think X is the much better artist on It's Dark and Hell Is Hot. And the fact that, if we look at both albums, Rough Riders Anthem is a hit. And Reasonable Doubt doesn't have that level of a hit.
Well, it's funny that you say that. If you actually go look at the albums even hit-wise, It's Dark and Hell Is Hot has the bigger street songs, but it has the bigger hits too, Mike.
It does.
How's It Going Down? It's a big hit.
It is.
Rough Riders Anthem's a big hit.
How's It Going Down is bigger than Can't Knock the Hustle.
Get At Me Dog was huge, Mike.
Yeah.
Stop Being Greedy.
Yeah.
These are the singles.
Yeah.
That's bigger than the singles on Reasonable Doubt.
I would say the street single on Reasonable Doubt's Dead Presidents, right? It's Dead Presidents, and I know it's 2 different situations because, Jay was on Priority where X was on Def Jam.
Correct.
But
more marketing.
We know that the impact of Get At Me Dog was a lot more than the impact of Dead Presidents. Now, granted, I would pick Dead Presidents as the better song, but not by a lot.
Not by a lot.
Not by a lot. Not by a lot.
Not by a lot.
And what he also has.
If you wanted to draw it, I'm cool with that.
Right. He also has Stop Being Greedy on the other end of that too.
Right.
So not only were we sold on
we got Ain't No Nigga and Can't Knock the Hustle.
Right.
And Dead Presidents and Feeling It.
Right. Not only were we sold on Get At Me Dog, but Stop Being Greedy was right there with it.
Stop Being Greedy to me is a better record than Get At Me Dog.
I think Stop Being Greedy is the best song on the album.
It's arguable.
And if you want to line up stuff like Damien with the Evils, it lines up. I think the Evils is the better record, but not by a lot.
By very little.
Not by a lot. And so if we start, splitting hairs here.
It's one of those things where the second half of It's Dark and Hell Is Hot ascends in a way that the second half of Reasonable Doubt doesn't.
You're right. If we talk about Regrets and Niggas Done Started Something, this ain't even a conversation. Or what's the record with
ATF, The Convo.
The Convo. The Convo is one of those records that's so great. It's caught up in a great album.
Crime
so we don't
Story.
talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Convo kind of reminds me of like Family Business for the College Dropout. It's just on a great album. We don't talk about it. But if it was somewhere else.
Right. Like if it was on the second album, they'd be like the highlight of the album.
Exactly. Jay Short with the super chat says, my only knock against Dark and Hell Is Hot is the production. It's good, but no one is going back and sampling or rhyming over those beats. They aren't classic. But see, to me, Jay Short, that's what makes the album so strong, and the fact that X was able to ascend those, I don't want to say subpar beats, but not outstanding production and make them great songs. That's what Tupac did.
I think the beats more fit his style.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't tell me Get At Me Dog's not a dope beat. Don't tell me Stop Being
That
Greedy's
shit
not a dope
crazy.
beat. ATF,
Crazy.
Crime Story. Like, what are y'all talking
Can you
about?
imagine what anybody
Damien?
else would have been able
No,
to
these
do
are
with
dope
those beats?
No, these are dope beats. That's what I'm saying.
If somebody else got Get At Me Dog, they wouldn't have been able to do what he did on it. If somebody else would have gotten Stop Being Greedy, they didn't have the ability to do what he did on that record.
Yeah.
Stefan with the super chat says, I looked up DMX's hits on Billboard a few days ago. He says, I couldn't believe it. He had nothing in the top 10. What people got to understand, though, and I'm not making excuses or whatever, but this whole top 10 and hip-hop records being in the Billboard top 10, that's a recent thing. In the 90s, it wasn't like that. You had the Celine Dion's walking around the world. And rap records really weren't hitting top 5, top 10 really until the 2000s. Unless you had a super big record in the 90s.
I mean, you stood more of a chance with a Belle Biv DeVoe of doing an R&B record that had some rap flavor and some hip-hop style and aesthetic to it, becoming a hit record, than a hip-hop record, quote-unquote, becoming a big hit. It's like, unless you made, I don't know, Summertime. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the big ones. Because like, let's look that up too.
Like Forever, however you feel about it, like you can't touch this. It's like, no, you had to make something like
you had to make something like that. Go look up what Ice Cube's Today Is a Good Day did on the charts. You probably be surprised. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I bet you We Be Clubbin's probably a bigger record.
Probably is. Numerically.
It's not better.
No, it's not more classic.
Not even a little bit.
So it doesn't really matter.
I love We Be Clubbin'.
Joe Young, me too. Joe Young with the super chat says, you got to put Reservoir Dogs up there. They came through on that track. Styles P dissing Jay was a great moment in hip-hop. You're right, Coop. You had to step your pen game up at the time. I like Four-Arm Blaze. You know what? I was going to say The Rock, but that's 3 guys. It's not a posse cut.
Yeah, I was thinking I4 and I was up there too. Mobb Deep and Nas and Ray.
Objectively speaking, though, I would have to give my nod to All About the Benjamins, because I think not only is All About the Benjamins a posse cut, I think it's one of the greatest hip hop songs ever made, and it's one of the biggest ones too. So,
and I think the scene stealing moments are just epic. It has like a lot of moments.
Yeah, quotables, everything.
Quotables everywhere.
I mean, even when Redman said, like, got impact like DJ threw on Benjamins, like, the beat was crazy.
Yeah, no. Beat's epic. No, everything about the record
beat was
epic.
iconic. The hook, to a certain degree, it was like a, like you said with If You Know, You Know. It became a saying. They got movies after this shit. And you got the quotables in all of the verses.
The verses are exceptional. I told you, Kim is,
Listen close as Francis, the praying mantis. Now, when that nigga said, man, fuck a state pen, fuck hoes in Penn State.
Listen close as
Whoa.
Francis, the praying mantis. Attack with the left, my right hand split.
Right
left
hand
grip on the whip for the smooth getaway. Play. It's Kim's verse for me though, Mike.
Wanna rumble with the B, huh?
Throw a hex on the whole family.
Dressed in all black like the Omen. Have your friends saying this is for my homie.
And you know me.
Does Kendrick have a better feature verse than that?
Hell no, Mike. Most guys, this is what I'm saying about that verse. Most guys don't have a better feature verse than that. It's like that's not no shade to Kendrick. It's like, no, you got a lot. Like, how about this?
Well,
like
Kendrick's feature game is not as strong as one would.
Like, does Ice Cube have a better feature verse than Kim's verse on Benjamin's?
Here we come, boy. Real niggas shoot the kid. Nah, I don't think so. But Cube got some heavy ones.
He got, but like I said, and you know how we talk about Ice Cube. Does he have one better than Kim's verse on the Benjamins?
Not that I can think of off top.
That's how special it is.
Yeah, she came through on Benjamin's.
Yeah, she came through.
I been had skills, Cristal spills, high bills in Brazil, and this nigga comes in on the Michael Jackson sample or the Jackson 5 sample, like. Shit was crazy. Nah, yeah, I'm giving that in the Benjamins.
Donnie Brasco.
Yeah.
Let my West Coast girl, the Bentley, the twirl. My East Coast shorty. Rock the Chrome 740. Walking red man and naughty.
All in my kitty cat.
Time for breaking yay in the bra where her titties at.
Jay Short with the super chat says, in the end, I always feel like flesh in my flesh. I always like flesh in my flesh more. I skipped a few cuts on the Dark and Hell. It's Dark and Hell is Hot. Well, Jay Short, you talk about the production on Dark and Hell is Hot. My thing was I didn't really love the production on Flesh on My Flesh. Me personally.
That's because you're not a big Swiss fan, though.
I'm not. I never have been. And I respect Swiss's work and the fact that he's been around this long. and his iconic moments that he has contributed to hip hop. But man, I can't even tell you what my favorite Swiss beat.
I was actually
Beat
about to ask you
is.
that. What's your favorite? Well, what's your favorite Swiss record? Just period.
Swiss produced record.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, it would be Banned from TV.
Okay.
Off the top of my head.
Ooh, Posse Cut. Where's Banned from TV as a Posse Cut?
Banned from TV's up there.
You think it's better than John Blaze?
I think it's a better song, but bar for bar, it's not better.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I would probably play it before John Blaze, but the emceeing on John Blaze is superior.
I don't know if I would play it before John Blaze.
What you think about Bitches Ain't Shit?
You want to know? I think Maurice mentioned that.
Yeah. Yeah, that.
Get some love.
I mean, Snoop did his thing on there.
He did.
Daz did his thing on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stranded on Death Row.
It's a good one, too.
Yeah. I think I like Stranded on Death Row better.
The beat for Bitches Ain't Shit is just
I was
crazy.
about to say, it's just, I think it's the beat. Yeah,
That's one of
you
the
wanna know
best
it?
beats ever, man.
Yeah, just about the beat.
Yeah, that beat's insane.
Yeah,
man.
beat's crazy.
But yeah, speaking of featured appearances, man, J. Cole's been killing his featured appearances, and he just recently put out a record with Gucci. Mike Will produced it. It's going to be on Gucci's new album. What's the name of the song again?
No, I'm pulling it up right now.
I like the record.
Listen to it.
This song is kind of like
There I Go.
There I Go. J. Cole got on there. It was J. Cole. Gucci got on there and did his thing, too. This is a collaboration that I don't think any of us seen.
It's really dope record.
Coming. Yeah, and the fact that Mike Will produced it, I feel like neither one of those guys leaned on, I guess, their comfort zone. They both went out there and did something, I guess, different. And it worked out. I think it's a hit.
We're going to see what it does. I don't know what a hit is anymore, but I know that shit is dope. Yeah.
A hit in 2023 is Gunna's Fuck You Mean.
This could give it some run.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like that. Cole is absurd, man.
He is, man. Zuri said something that I did want to address. He says, Zuri with the super chat says, where would y'all put Got My Mind Made Up?
I don't know. See, how about this? I would play that record before a lot of other records that I would objectively put ahead it. Like I'd play My Mind Made Up before I would play John Blaze or Banned from TV. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, bar for bar, though, Mind Made Up is heavy. There's not really a weak point in there,
No.
except for, like, you know, maybe you could say Daz at the beginning, but Daz produced the track. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it could have started off a little stronger. But, yeah, once Pac came in and then Corrupt did what he did, Method Man did what he did,
I think we might need to make a posse cut list. We're not going to, like, talk about it. We just going to put it out.
Yeah. We'll just put it out there. Leroy Green with the super chat says, what up, A2HH? I'm here. What are we talking about? We're talking about the fact that Jay-Z doesn't have a better album performance than DMX's Dark and Hell is Hot, Leroy. But I do think that Jay's performance on the Black album could rival that of Dark and Hell is Hot, but Dark and Hell is Hot is just so.
Jay is super versatile on the Black album. And
Very
so
versatile.
Stylistically, I get what you're saying, but it lacks that feeling and that depth that his Dark and Hell is Hot has.
He does have allure on there, though.
He does, but it's like, you know, like the way that you feel on that record, it's like, well, it's Dark and Hell is Hot has a lot of those feels, you know? And it's like, X is the type of character you're like, it's like, nah, like something really wrong with fam.
Yo, for the people out there who didn't live this, when X dropped that shit, he became niggas' favorite rapper overnight. Like,
It's
for real.
happened fast.
Yeah. Throughout our high school, it's like, yo, who's the best rapper? DMX.
I tried to tell everybody at my high school. Everybody kept saying Cannabis. I'm like, no. I'm like, that dude DMX.
Man. DMX was different, man. And, you know, Cannabis had the lyricism, had the freestyles, and had the, you know, the feature appearances. But he was killing everything.
I loved Cannabis.
But when his Dark and Hell is Hot dropped, we understood that he doesn't have a Stop Being Greedy. He doesn't have a Rough Riders anthem. He doesn't have a How's It Going Down.
Get at me, dog.
Yeah. I mean, the songs speak for themselves. Jay Short with the super chat says, I have to mention 2 slept-on classic West Coast posse cuts. I got 5 on it remix. Great remix.
I love that.
I think we talked about that.
We have talked about
when
that.
I put 5 on it as a top 50 hip-hop song, you said the remix is better.
Because it is.
I don't know if I would go that far, but the remix is great.
Remix is crazy.
It's great.
I love the remix.
I love that remix.
That's
you know what, Jay
remix.
Short?
That's one of the best remixes ever.
It is. It's a top 10 one to me, off top.
Yeah, it's top 10 remix to me too. Yeah.
He said, "How's it going?" I'm sorry, it's going down remix. Oh yeah, I like that one too.
It's going down remix.
With 40. Yeah, it's going. Yeah.
Nah, I don't know if that makes the cut though.
Forte, Mac 10, Selly Cell, and Be Legit. Shout out to them, man. Stefan with a super chat says, "Is Hit-Boy's remix a posse cut?" I'm sorry, Hot Boy remix. Hit-Boy. Hot Boy remix.
Missy? The Missy joint? Is that what he's talking about?
I guess it could be.
That ain't ranking. That's not ranking.
I don't feel like it is, though.
No, that's not.
Talking about the one with Q-Tip and Nas and E?
That's not going to register.
I don't think all three of them are on the same one, though.
No.
I didn't like anybody's performance on there other than Eve's, to be perfectly honest. And you know I'm a big Nas and Q-Tip fan. I wasn't.
I didn't love their verses.
Escobar, CBR bike. Yeah, I wasn't huge on that.
He's done much better.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But yeah. Back to J. Cole as a feature. He's killing everything that he gets on. I think he is the best featured MC in the game. I don't know what that really means in 2023 anymore.
Right.
Without the project to boot.
Right.
I don't think the off season lived up to everybody's expectations. Am I wrong about that? Based on, what we've been hearing from him?
I think he's dropping good music. It's not staying.
I think what it is, and I want to be careful here because I want to praise J. Cole for what he's doing. I think the dominance that he is he's displaying on his features aren't translating to his albums. And like you said, he's making good music. But I think based on these dominating features and appearances, we're expecting dominating music as well.
I mean, he's kind of like, see, because even to say that it translate isn't like, I don't think all the way accurate. Like he did make what, Pride is the Devil. What's the other one? Let Go of My Hand.
Yep.
Yeah,
love that record.
Yeah, Let Go of My Hand, Pride is the Devil. So there's some shit on the off season, but is it like, this is what I mean, is that all-time great reverence in those songs that you hear? Because I think that's what I hear. When we hear him on these features, we're hearing like all-time great artists.
Yeah.
Right?
Johnny P's Caddy.
Yeah.
Those levels.
Right. And it's like, well, that level isn't translating to the songs from him that I think that are iconic enough to put him in that stratosphere. And so I think that's really the only thing left for him to do. As far as these features go, he's killing this shit.
And he's showing that he can get on any type of record. I mean, if we talk about even, let's just take Gucci off of this new record. That's a single for J. Cole, right? Take Benny off of Johnny P's Caddy. That's a street record for Cole. You know what I'm saying? Like adding another verse of his there. And it's like, I think those are the standards that we're beginning to set on that level. And it's like, as great as this feature run is, and I do think he's the best featured MC in the game, I would love to hear it translate, through a full effort. And I know he can do it. I believe he can do it.
Me too. I agree. I believe he can do it.
I believe he has his best effort in him.
Yes. I agree. I totally agree. Still. I think he could have like a moment of truth moment where it's like, oh no, it's like, this is album number what, and you make your best shit by far.
I agree.
No, I think he has that in him. Where would you put him? Where would you place him like right now? Just like, he's the best feature artist in the game, but where is he like in the game as a whole?
Well, you got to have the effort, right?
Right.
And we're talking about in the game currently as a whole, not all time, right?
Yeah, just currently. Like since we've been doing the show.
Since we've been doing the show, like, okay, so since 2020. I mean, I think Nas has been the best MC in the game. I don't think I'm going to get any argument from that. Kendrick's kind of been absent. I think off season's better than Mr. Morale, and then you add in the features. I think him and Drake is an interesting conversation. He's definitely top 5-ish, but I would give him more of a number 3 spot because of, the featured work. because of the stuff that's going on with his crew, things that he's been able to jump on that level. What do you say?
I would put him at 3 too. I would put Nas at 1, and I'm gonna tell you why I would put him at 3 and not 2. He hasn't made anything better than cheat codes. And Thought's been doing work, and Thought made cheat codes.
Yeah.
And he made the joint earlier this year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Thought got guest appearance versus, like.
I don't think anybody would be insulted by Thought being over Cole.
So if I was picking just since we've been doing the show, I would go Nas, Thought, Cole, Conway, Drake. Probably that 5.
Okay, would you put Cole over Conway? Because now I'm thinking from a king to a god, that's 2020. I don't know if I could. I don't know. That's close
conversational.
Yeah, that's close. Because I feel like
but when Cole
Conway's done more work.
He's done more work, but when Cole just like snaps like this, it's just like,
Yeah. Leroy Green with the $20 super chat showing love. He says, Mike, DMX was like Nelly or 50 or Puffy or MC Hammer. You're seeing a moment of pop culture shock. But as far as intricacy, Jay-Z is a better MC, and albums like Reasonable Doubt Volume 1, The Blueprint, Black Album, American Gangster show a higher level of bar work.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, of all those albums, definitely the Black Album is a solo mission, and so is American Gangster.
Well, here's what, I really thought about something. Like, this game isn't in a bad place. It's like, we didn't bring up Benny. We didn't bring up Gibbs.
Gibbs is heavy.
Kendrick is still out here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Gibbs
Would
is
you
heavy.
put Cole over Gibbs over the past since we've been doing this show?
See, we got to talk about how we really want to measure it. How much are we measuring the quality of the albums versus like the quality of the verses that we're hearing?
You know me, man.
Because he's got the album work too. It's not like he hadn't done an album.
Yeah, exactly.
Done work.
So if we're talking about album work,
he's got the off season and he's got the Dreamville mixtape, but he's got all these guest appearances too. It's just that what we're hearing on the Dreamville and hearing on the guest appearances is better than what we heard on the off season.
It's kind of some Andre 3000ism going on.
No. He has a solo album.
He does, but
he contributed to a mixtape, and he is like on solo album number 7 or 8. So we don't.
I understand what you're saying.
We don't have that going on.
What I'm saying is, when you look at Conway and Freddie Gibbs' output when it comes to full albums, Cole doesn't have that kind of output, but he really shines on his features. That's where the Andre 3000ism comes in at. And I don't know if I can. I don't know if I could put features over, let's just say, Soul separately.
And Alfredo.
I can't do that.
That's
I would
fair.
have to put Gibbs over.
So let's rework it then. Let's say we put. Okay, so are you cool with Nas and Thought at 1 and 2?
I am.
So
the only argument would be either Gibbs or Conway for Thought, but Thought's been taking it to the next level.
He has, man.
Yeah.
And as much as I love Conway and like Gibbs, it's like I don't know if they can do an Aquamarine or a Gold Teeth.
You're right. Aquamarine is actually probably, if I had to really judge it, it might be the best song to come out since we've done this show.
You could argue that.
I need to think about this further. But if you ask me, like, what's the best song to come out in hip hop since we've been doing this show, that might be the first one to come to mind.
Because my favorite Gibbs song since we've been doing this show would probably be Scotty Beam or Baby Shit, and I don't think either one of those are better than Aquamarine. My favorite Conway song would probably be Jesus Crisis or Lemon.
It's just crazy.
Or Juvenile Hell, and I'm not sure if any of those are better than Aquamarine either.
I think.
And then he has no gold teeth.
Do you think the bar work on From a King to a God is the best bar work that we've gotten since 2020 on an album?
Magic, Cheat Codes, and From a King to a God are what stand out lyrically.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
But I wouldn't put it ahead of Magic just immediately. And Thought's bar work on fucking Cheat Codes is pretty crazy.
It is.
So I wouldn't just like put From a King to a God like there just yet, because Magic and Cheat Codes has come out.
Mo Better Cole with the super chat says, what makes Cole and Kendrick different is Cole is great with his feature verses, but Kendrick outshines him when it comes to albums.
You know, that's fair. So hold on. So let's get back to this. Are we taking Conway or are we taking Gibbs? Because here's the thing. Conway's done more work
I'm
than
taking
Gibbs.
Conway slightly, but it's not by a lot.
Because here's the thing is it's like, what's Conway? Because how about this? It's like, let's say Alfredo and From a King to a God wash each other out. Where's Conway sold separately?
It's fair.
So it's like we can't be totally unfair to Gibbs. I think Conway's just done more stellar bar work.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would give him the slight edge as well. So you're cool if it's like Nas, Thought, Conway, Gibbs.
Then Cole, maybe.
Then
But then
Cole.
you got Drake.
I was about to say, then I think the conversation becomes Cole and Drake, because here's the thing. They've both put out a project since we've been doing this podcast, and they've both done kind of like a joint projects, like Cole with the Dreamville and Drake with the 21.
I got to be fair, man. It might be Drake over Cole on that, but I like Cole
the off-season,
bar for bar more.
See, of course, bar for bar, he's better. And I think the off-season is better than Certified Lover Boy, and I think the Dreamville mixtape is better than the 21 Drake album. So I would tell you Cole.
Okay.
And then go Drake.
Okay. I want to see what the people think about that. Critical Mass with the super chat
we might
says,
need to do our top 10 MCs list like currently, like right now. Like we might need to do a top 10.
this decade.
Yeah, like who are the top 10 like right now, like for this decade.
And people can't even look at us crazy for saying that Nas is the best rapper this decade. He got 5 albums, and they're pretty good too. Critical Mass with the super chat says, because he's rapping over other peeps' beats on features. Oh, this is the beats conversation with J. Cole again. So y'all think that J. Cole shines on features because it's not his beats.
I'm not going to argue with that, Mike. I've said one thing repeatedly about his projects. I was like, I want somebody else to give him beats.
Or to be in charge of the beats, because that's what happens when you collab
like
too.
Look what he just did on that Mike Will Made It track. It's like, no, I'm cool if you want to slide on a Metro track, or if you want to slide on a Travis Scott track.
Yeah.
Or if you want to holler at Hit-Boy.
Because even if you look at Benny.
Alchemist. Or Muggs.
I was going to say, even if you look at Benny on Johnny P's Caddy, that was Alchemist, right? Benny picked that beat for him. So it's like, maybe this whole narrative about J. Cole being a bad beat picker might not be crazy, because we're seeing what he does on features. And those beats, he's not picking those.
His problem might be picking his own damn beats.
It could be.
So he should stop
doing that. I don't like
to
put that on an artist.
So he should stop doing that. He doesn't have a Q-tip problem where it's like, what am I going to do with all these classic beats? It's like, no, he ain't got that problem.
It just sounds like such a cop-out to put that on an artist. You know what I mean? But this might be something to it.
It's not a cop-out to ask an artist who raps as exceptionally well as he does to ask him to like lay back on the board work. Like,
I don't even think it's a thing, because the last album, Off Season, he had other producers, right? I don't even think it's about him making the beats, like you said. I think it's more about what he picked.
But as far as like, here's what I mean about like just kind of sitting the boards down some. It's like, well, as time is going on, it's like, well, you're turning out to be the best lyricist of this generation. So
Kendrick has better production than him, and therefore made better albums. You know? Jay Short with the super chat says, is J. Cole the Busta Rhymes of the new era? Great featured artist, but can't find the formula to make his own classic. Jack of all trades, master of none. Yeah.
Nah, he's better than that.
Zuri with the super chat says, is E40's Dusted and Disgusted a top West Coast posse cut?
Dusted and Disgusted's up there. Yeah.
Dot with the super chat says, re-listen to KD3 this week, and there's no denying it's the best album to come out in the last decade. By far the most complete album. Now, I will say that about KD3. I think it's the most complete album that we've gotten since 2020.
Yes.
It's hard to say that any album is better. What would you say about Alfredo matching up with KD3?
It's not as good as Long. That would be the problem. Like
Alfredo?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know I love Alfredo.
Yeah.
I would actually like Alfredo would probably take the early records. You know what I mean? Like 1985, God is Perfect, Scotty Beam.
Yeah.
Those are all high level records. You know, he's got Baby Shit, All Glass, Skinny Suge. Like he's got some stuff on there. But it's not the tour de force performance that like KD3 is. And I think probably like
KD3 wins the marathon.
KD3 wins the marathon over most of these albums. Same thing with From a King to a God. It's like From a King to a God maybe starts off stronger, but it doesn't consistently carry the way KD3 does.
So KD3 is the best album since 2020 in hip-hop.
Pray for Paris.
I was going to ask you about Pray for Paris. And I know for a lot of people it's tough for them to compare Pray for Paris to a KD3 because they're looking at West Side's rhyming versus Nas's rhyming. If we're talking about albums, Pray for Paris is special.
I would say it's between Pray for Paris. Pray for Paris and KD3 are the most complete rap albums that I've heard since we've started doing this show.
I mean, Pray for Paris sounds like a classic. It's one of those albums that sounds like we've always had it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it feels like it's been here for 10 years or so.
Like if I was ranking it like right now, I'd probably say KD3 slightly, and it would be about the lyricism and the versatility of the production. Not even like the overall production, just the versatility of the production.
Mm-hmm.
And then Pray for Paris. And then after that, I think you have a conversation of Alfredo, From a King to a God, Magic, KD2. What else has come out? It's been like high level cheat codes. I guess would be in that top 10.
What do you think about Soul Separately?
There's a possibility, but it would probably fall like on the back end.
It's a dope album.
It's a dope album.
Melvin Wright with the super chat says, "You two overrate Gibbs. He's not better than Benny. He has better output than Benny. Now I personally like Benny better as an MC, but I can't sit here and tell you album for album he beats out Gibbs. He doesn't.
It's like, no, I mean, like.
And I love Benny.
Real talk, I love Benny too. It's like, what's his best album, Tana Talk 3? It's like, do you think that that's better than Alfredo?
It's not. And I love Tana Talk 3.
Do you think it's better than Soul Separately?
No.
Do you think it's better than Bandana?
That's a conversation.
Or Pinata?
You
see what I'm saying? Freddie got 4 albums, and it's like, oh, I don't know.
This is what happens when it comes to Benny. Benny's a lot like Method Man was when we were growing up. When he gives you those flashes, like the rubber bands and weight, oh, you like, yo, man, this nigga is that guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if we got 12 songs on an album, rubber bands and weight level, we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
I mean, for me, it's like
97 Hope.
Rick and the Gods Don't Bleed verse was when I was like, okay, I'm like, no, this guy different. And I expected him. I think our expectations were for Benny to be more special than what the music has reflected. So there is some Method Man going on with it a little bit, but also too, like, it's not like he's making bad albums.
No. We just had a high level of expectation.
Right. It's like, how about this? It's like, well, our expectation for him is kind of like Jada Kiss and Method Man. Well, we expect you to make a classic album.
Prodigy too. It's like
we expect a classic album
through the roof.
Yeah, it's like we expect a classic album. And we're going to talk about you until we get the classic album, pretty much.
I'm looking forward to what him and Hit-Boy are cooking up. Because some of the snippets I heard were really, really dope. And I know Benny can do it. Again, I think he has his best effort in him, too. And that's exciting to know because I feel like, I hate to say it for the Kendrick fans out there, I think that we got the best material from Kendrick. It's what it is. You know what I mean? And everything else from here on out, you know, it's probably going to be pretty good to whatever, but I think with Benny and Cole, we haven't gotten their best material yet.
And that's exciting.
It is exciting. Leroy Green with the super chat says, "Coop, we love X, but you know the streets saw him like they see a wrestler, and that's as entertaining more than anything else. With Jay, they saw a familiar aesthetic. Not too many of us bark when we talk." I don't think that. No, I think that's disrespectful, Leroy.
And not too many people are walking around talking about, I was wearing all this platinum when all y'all chicks thought it was silver and shit. Popping that Cristal when y'all thought it was beer and shit. You think that's normal people talk, Leroy?
Thumbs up in the chat. Leroy's here.
Yeah, Leroy on that bullshit.
Leroy's on that bullshit on a Wednesday.
Ain't no manicures on board, and switch your planes. Oh, that's relatable to you, really?
Listen, I think DMX hit people on a whole different level. I want to know when Leroy, it was bigger than the bar.
I want to know when Leroy has gotten a manicure on a plane talking about relatability. Because here's the thing he doesn't realize about DMX. DMX is way more relatable than Jay could ever pray to be.
Of course.
Like, he literally says it on a Get At Me Dog. He's like, you know what I mean? I'm just robbing to eat. There's at least 1,000 of us like me mobbing the streets. When we starve and we eat, whatever's there. You know the code in the streets, whatever's fair.
Yeah.
No. There are people living by that law more than they're living by the shit that Jay's kicking. I'm sorry.
I mean, even the how's it going down story is relatable for people.
That's what I mean.
You know what I'm saying?
Way more relatable.
Politicking with this chicken wondering if I'm a creeper. Little hood rat chick from 25th named Tamika coming through like I do.
Look, even fucking Damien's relatable, Mike.
Yeah.
Where's my guardian angel? I need one. Wish I had one. I'm right here, shorty. And I'm going to hold you down. You want to fuck all these bitches? I'm going to show you how.
Ain't D like you.
But my friends call me Damien.
LP with the super chat says, Freddie got Alfredo, so separately, one-way flight, 500 ounces, life is like a dice game, empathy, snort with Bodie, seen everything but Jesus. Yeah, fake flowers, no way thought is over Gibbs for the 2020s.
Okay. You might have some smoke, but I feel like Thought's done, like, how many of the EPs have dropped?
Since 2020?
Yeah.
I think those EPs was before that.
Is it before? All of them before? So he just has the 2 projects?
I think so, yeah. But his bar work's been stellar. You know what I'm saying?
It's been some flawless victory stuff going on.
He's been out rapping everybody.
Yeah, technically.
Everybody.
Technically.
Yeah. Jay Short with the super chat says, that's not true. X was seen as a wrestler. In fact, I remember in 1998 when people said Jay was just Diddy with better lyrics. Volume 2 was too slick for some. I think, this is what I thought about Volume 2 back then, and this is before I became a Jay fan. I felt like Volume 2 was like a compilation because every song on the album, for the most part, had a feature on it.
Okay, so let's go to the mic performance by Jay. What's the best verse?
Best verse on Volume 2?
Yeah, I think it's nigga what, nigga who.
I knew you were going to say that. I think it's all right. On the Jewels, I blew more money than Latrell.
That's not good enough for Jay.
You jail like Flubber. I hover above the city in the private jet. Live is set. Pressure breaks. Feds want to investigate.
Mr.
I don't
Allen
cop
caught
nothing.
less than 8.
And anything involved with my name, regardless of the fame, is hard. I can't even walk through Harlem again. Charge it to the game. I'm platinum like American Express. My boy died and all I did was inherit his stress to make every jam tougher. You ain't my man, fuck you. I suggest let you live, right? Negative. Sweat. Still it die. Hope your soul provides you with an afterlife. Close your casket tight. Take your last 2 deep breaths and pass the mic to Jay-Z, nigga. Yeah, I think that's his best verse on the album.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
We spitting bars today.
I take the nigga what, nigga who verse.
Talking about got a condom, number, condoms in it, with the same place with the rhymes of in it.
So all I do is rap and sex. Imagine how I stroke. See, I was flowing like I'm a last cassette. Grab the fire like I'm blasting the tech. Never jam though, never get high, never run out of ammo. Niggas hating the shit cause it changed your bitch. You know your favorite. I know it made you sick and now you acting raw like you never had one. Well, now I carry a hoe, wanna marry a hoe. Now she's mad at me cause your majesty just happens to be a pimp. What a tragedy. She want us to end cause I fucked the friend. She gave me one more chance. Fucked her again. Yeah, that's the verse.
I seen the 10 that she busted in.
I said, shit, it's a draft. Shut the door, bitch, and come. Yeah, that's the best verse on the album. Like.
Kendall Outlaw with the
him,
super chat.
Because that's really, that's him. That's him talking to you.
I think both of those verses.
It's conversational.
Yeah, conversational.
When he's conversational, it's like
he's at his best.
He's at his best. No, hold on. You want to know what?
I like A Week Ago.
I'm about to say it might be the Week Ago verse though.
That's conversational though. Conversational Jay is Jay at his best.
With no speech in the phone. From then I could sit
bleaching your dome. Yeah, that verse is crazy.
That might be the verse.
That's my favorite song on the album.
No, that's the best song on the album. That's the best verse, Mike. The Week Ago verse. The first verse from a week ago. Me and my dog, Nee. Yeah, we spoke much more than cordially. Yeah.
Yeah. Favorite for him. All right, Kendall Outlaw with the super chat says,
couldn't jump over the hedges, and that's when our relationship strength. Yeah, yeah, Mike, that's the verse. Yeah.
Kendall Outlaw says, Nas the best featured artist ever. The only other artist to come close is Jay. You've made that argument on this show too. I still kind of give it to Jay, but I could be wrong. Uncle Fran with the $20 super chat.
Define a feature is like doing stuff like for a Clue mixtape, like a feature. Like, what do you mean by feature?
Well, a feature is like, if you're on somebody else's effort, I think.
Yeah, it's Nas.
I think that Jay is more versatile with his features. I don't think there's a Maya Best of Me remix in Nas's arsenal.
Thank God I found you, Mariah Carey.
I don't think it's at the level of, Carolina Blue Kicks, hottest nigga on the block,
Sincerity.
used to really bicycle since I was 6.
Love is all we need.
Nah.
The songs are up there. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
No, the songs are great, but I think that the
Oh,
features,
you mean the verse?
the features, yeah,
Feature verses. Yeah, but his best feature verses are
the street shit.
It's the street shit.
Yeah. Uncle Fran with the $20 super chat showing love says, guys, the reason why Cole doesn't have the same output as those guys you mentioned is because his art has a higher value. He's still going platinum and selling every arena. He doesn't treat his albums as mixtapes. Well, even if that's the case, that's the business. That's something that we're talking about on the back burner. Are we supposed to disregard other people's efforts and their work because of what this nigga situation is? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, that's great. You still don't have the albums. Like,
I'm tired of talking about this. I'm tired of explaining this shit. But we got to keep on explaining the same thing.
You know what I call that, Uncle Fran, and respectfully? That's called making excuses. That's what that's called. The L Webb with the super chat says Gibbs is more versatile than Benny. Benny always used the same flow. I think Gibbs is more versatile than people give him credit for, and I think that's because he has like a deeper tone, right? But his flow is always switching up, and he showed us on Soul Separately that he could do pretty much anything.
It's wildly versatile on Soul Separately.
He is.
He's really like, you know, the beautiful thing about Soul Separately is that you see that he's really rounded himself into a full bona fide like rap star and rap artist.
So Separately would be album of the year in this year right now.
Handily.
I mean, I think Magic 2 would give it some comp, but I think that, and Michael as well, but I think it would edge those out. There's been a Magic versus Magic 2 conversation out here that I want to talk to you about too, speaking of Magic 2. People kind of got them
go ahead
slightly even. Now we got Esquire in the building. Shout out to Esquire. Esquire with the super chat says, best verse on volume 2, a week ago, verse 1.
Yeah.
And the second verse on It's Like That. I like It's Like That. Also,
I like It's Like That.
I like It's Like That.
You can keep that.
Also, after Nas, Cole is easily been the best MC this decade. Think you're giving Cole extra points. We're not looking at the whole thing.
Right, because he doesn't have a project that would crack our top 15 albums for this.
Exactly. I think people have put in too much great work when it comes to like albums. You know what I mean? For us to just say that, because what are we basing that on? Verses? Right. I want to find this.
Because Freddie would have 2 albums in our top 15 easily. He'd probably have 2 in our top 10 probably.
That's what I'm saying. We can't disregard Freddie's work and the work that Freddie's put in.
I mean, because really, if you really want to look at it in terms of like album quality output, well, I mean, he's the only person other than Nas that is toting around 2 projects as good as he's toting around right now for the common era, just quite frankly. You know what I'm saying?
Right. This is what I saw. I want you to see this, and I'll talk to the people about it too.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Okay. So let's look at it like this. And I want to give a shout out to the people that put this together. Flipper Purify put together a Magic versus Magic 2. And this is the way he scored it. Let's see. He has Speechless winning the first song, right?
Over Abracadabra?
Yep, over Abracadabra.
I would agree. Speechless is probably the best start-off song of all of the series.
Got Meet Joe Black over Office Hours. What do you say about that?
Yes.
Meet Joe Black over Office Hours? Okay.
Not by a lot, but yes.
Got Ugly over Black Magic.
Yeah. I got Ugly over almost everything, though.
Ugly's pretty great.
Ugly's classic.
Got Motion over 4016 Building. You don't sound like you're with that one. I'm with that.
I'm with that.
I think Motion's better.
I can be with that, yeah.
Thumbs up in the chat, everybody. Get everybody in the room.
That's close, though, but yeah, I can see that.
Bokeem Woodbine over Hollywood Gangster.
Yeah.
It's interesting how these fell together.
Not by a lot.
Got Magic Irvin Johnson over Woo for the Children.
Yeah.
Okay. So now we 3-3. Wave God over What This All Really Means.
Yeah.
The Truth and Slow It Down. Now, there's a tie there. What do you have?
I'm taking Slow It Down.
You've said Slow It Down is the best song in this whole series.
Arguably that or Store Run.
Okay.
Like when I think of this series, the records that come to mind immediately are Store Run and Slow It Down. and then after that, Nobody and The Truth. So
Um,
close.
And then this comes down to dedication and Pistol on the album cover.
I think Pistols on your album cover is better.
Well, you just scored Magic 2 over Magic 1.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, why do you think it kind of? I mean, I guess.
But some of that is
That's
personal choice too,
deceptive,
and some of that is personal choice too. That's what I'm saying. Is like for me, it's like I would probably be cool with drawing 4016 in Motion and drawing Slow It Down in The Truth, because it's not like I think The Truth is like an inferior record. I do prefer Slow It Down.
Right.
I think the bar work on The Truth is better.
We gave The Truth quotable.
Yeah, it was verse of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean,
but also too, even with Dedicated, it's like, no, if you told me Dedicated was better than Pistols on your album cover, it's like it might be to you, but for me, like, no, I like Pistols on your album cover. Like that's one of my favorite joints of the series. That's what I'm saying. So there's a couple of joints like Slow It Down and Pistols on your album cover are two of my favorite songs from this entire series. Like, period.
So you know? What do you think that Magic has over Magic 2 like that then?
It's the feel.
Yeah, I was gonna go there too.
It's the feel.
It's an off the wall versus Thriller thing, right?
Yeah, it feels a certain type of way. Like, how about this? There's not a record on Magic 2 that feels like Ugly does. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Or Speechless, where it's just like, ooh, like that shit's cold. It's like you like what you. That's what I mean. It's like they took the theme and ran with it and made it like a more versatile and fun project. But it's like. There's not the street poetry on Magic 2 that there is on Magic 1. That's what I mean.
To me, I think Magic...
Ugly is that poetic guy that like wrote Do-Rags and Project Window.
Right.
And No Ideas Original. Like that wrote Rewind. It's like, no, that guy is on Magic. Like Magic 2 is traces of that guy, but it's the current guy.
I think there can be an argument made that the song making was better on Magic 2 than on Magic.
See, this is what I mean. They have a better groove now.
But this is what I will say about Magic. Magic was the most shocking effort in this whole series because I had no idea that guy was still in there at that level. And I remember hearing it, and I think I hit you up. It was like, if they would have told me that this album, these songs were recorded in like 98 or 99, I would have believed it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I couldn't fathom the fact that he was spitting at this level in 2021 at the time, right?
See, here's what I'm saying. Like, Motion is a better beat than 4016, as crazy as that seems. And it's more cleverly written, but it doesn't have some of those poignant ghetto poetics that we laud him for that make him special to people. You know what I'm saying? Take my quotes. I'm here to start a company from one of my phrases. We in the air of letting dumb shit kill you for no reason. You know what I mean? He's not talking like that on Magic 2.
Yeah.
His talk game is super, super high and it's fly, but it's more fly talk. And that's cool. You know what I mean? He's not doing, there is no the truth on there in terms of the message. You know what I'm saying?
To me, I think some of these songs on Magic 2 are a lot more palatable for, I don't want to say a pedestrian audience, but for a massive audience than the first Magic is. Because I know I was playing Magic 2 around mixed company, you know, people who really ain't following stuff like that. And the Bokeem Woodbine records and stuff like that, people are like, yo, this is new? You know what I mean? Like, in the same people, I was playing some of the stuff from the first Magic, and they weren't really as into it. So I think if that is what they set
this
out
has
to
a wider
accomplish,
scope, yes.
That's what they were set to, you know, trying to accomplish with this, and I think they succeeded in that.
That's what I mean. So it's like, you know, so Magic 1 versus Magic 2 essentially is like, are you gonna take the new nostalgia or the old nostalgia? Is essentially, you know what I mean? Because they're creating something new, but he still kind of keeps it nostalgic. It's like they're the Eric B and Rakim references,
right? The
Boogie Down production references. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like they made a change of direction though. I think that when they made the first Magic, you know, I say it tongue in cheek. I said when they came out with KD2 that those two have magic together, and you know, and I kind of credit myself for naming their album. But
this is
it came from the Mr. Magic thing, and I think it, like you said, it was a whole nostalgic trip. Whereas this time around, it was about something else.
Well, it's about the actual theme this time.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. That's why it's like, well, the poignant poetics are not there on this one Because the point now is to express the theme. So it's like on Slow It Down, he's saying, let's play a game. I hand you a king of diamond.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like, no, he's buying into the theme and selling you the theme this time. He's not selling you the bars. He's not selling you Nasty Nas. He's selling you Magic too. You know what I'm saying? That's what they're selling this time around. And it's like they just bought into the theme. Look at this abracadabra. You know what I'm saying?
But the way you speak of the first Magic and the way we both feel about the first Magic, because it was a real tipping point for this show, it's interesting to see how close song for song Magic 2 is with that album.
It's not far off, Mike.
It's not.
It's not far off.
The consistency of these 5 albums is staggering.
It's
still.
frightening.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like when people are like, KD3 is like a top 5 Nas album, maybe. It's like, well, shit, that puts like almost all these other ones in the top 10 because they're all like shades, like right there. It's not like the gap between the albums, Mike, is like this.
Yeah, I think the one that most people would put in the last place or in the 5th spot rather would be KD1, and KD1's really good.
Mike,
and that was the one that we were really kind of like, yo, this album is dope.
Mike, Full Circle came on my playlist when I was on the way here, and I was like, damn, this record's dope as fuck.
I think KD1 is going to age very well.
It already has aged well, Mike. That's what I'm saying. I was playing Full Circle in the car, and I was like, damn, this record came out like over 3 years ago now. I was like, it sounds great.
I think Ultra Black is one of the stronger singles from the whole series.
Me too.
Yeah.
I like Ultra Black more than I like Rare. I know that's not popular.
I do too. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that is popular. Jay Short with the super chat says, I'm seeing this movement bubble where people are trying to go back and re-audit the Nas/Hit-Boy story and decertify classics. Nas got 3 classics this run.
I mean, I think Katie, if we were saying, for me, I told you it's like, well, KD2 is like a modern day classic. Magic is just classic. KD3 is just like the best rap album of this decade. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't totally disagree. And Magic 2 and KD1 are not like far off.
Yeah, they're not.
Of that. I'll tell you what, and this
you got KD2 over Magic 2, right?
That's about winning the marathon again.
I think we got the same order.
Because here's the thing, and here's why KD2 is better than Magic 2 is like, oh no, Store Run and Nobody do cancel out Pistols on your album cover and Slow It Down. You know what I'm saying? So it's like Motion in Office Hours and Bokeem Went By. No, that's not enough to beat everything that's on KD2.
No, facts.
Got that Death Row East, Mike. No, I was about to
I knew it
Death
was
Row
coming.
East, right? You knew it was coming.
Well,
got that Death Row East.
Well, speaking of Nas, you heard what Cam said, right?
Yeah, actually, I just watched it when you sent it to me this morning. I had seen it got posted, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, for the people out there who didn't see it, Cam was giving Nas props for all the work that he's doing for Hip Hop 50, and he gave Nas a nod, saying like, "Look, man, I appreciate you letting me be a part of this celebration." He said he had never played Yankee Stadium. He said he's played the Apollo, played the Garden many a times, and he acknowledged the fact that him and Nas had back and forth, competitive back and forth, and issues in the past. And it was very big of Nas to, invite him out to that and acknowledge his cultural impact. And I think that's very big for both individuals. I think it's an awesome thing.
I do too. I like how Cam made it a point to talk about the fact it's like, no, this is somebody we used to have issues.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful, and I think this is the thing people need to take cues from. Hip-hop's in that beautiful place, too, where it's like, well, even a lot of that young, dumb shit we used to see when we were younger, but now these dudes are older, too.
Right.
And, Nas and Mass Appeal, like, they see things, and it's like, no, Harlem is a part of this. And the biggest star out of Harlem, Mike, in the last 25 years, no disrespect to Mace. I know everybody loved Big L. I know Jim Jones made the biggest record in the crew. But it's Cam.
Cam was the face of Harlem.
It's Cam.
Yeah.
And Nas knows that too. So, that's just, that's a boss move.
Well, I love it in the fact that, personal stuff aside, it's about the culture. It's about hip hop, and it's about getting history correct. And I think what Cam kind of, I don't want to say alluded to, but kind of said without saying is there's some people out here who would ignore getting history right because they have a personal issue with you, or they don't like you, or you come off a certain way. But Nas was being the bigger person,
Right.
and and it's like, fuck all that. You know what I mean? You're a big part of hip hop. You're a big part of the impact of this thing. And you got to be here.
I wish DMX was here for Hip Hop 50.
I really do too, man. Because I think X would have gotten a whole lot of love. X would have been out here spreading the love.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I didn't even think about that. But there's so many people, and that's why this is really important as well. There's so many people that didn't make it to the Hip Hop 50, like, the Fife Dogs, you know what I'm saying? Like, many of these groups, Mobb Deep, they're displaced because they don't have, members anymore.
Right.
And I think it's very important for people who did make it to see this, to celebrate in this.
Yeah, NWA can't get back together. Easy gone.
Yep, NWA can't get back together. Like, and this is a genre culture that changed everybody's lives.
Daylight now. Daylight got right back to streaming and lost Plug too.
Yeah.
So yeah. A lot of our heroes, like, we really weren't going to get the opportunity to see them, like, just about death.
We're not going to get Old Dirty back with Wu, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? And so for people who are sitting out this Hip Hop 50 thing, they got to think about those things, because at the end of the day, regardless of where you are or where you are in your status, hip hop got you there. And that's just the truth.
Right.
You didn't get there because you went out there and majored in business and, went and got a job somewhere and became a stockbroker or, built up penny stocks or whatever. Hip hop got you here. It's just the bottom line. Gritty with the super chat says, do you guys think KD2 is better than Magic 2? Yes.
Yes.
I would give it the nod. I think it's a more complete effort, but like you said, it's more about the marathon. Now, I will say,
it's too many dope records on KD2. Like, count me in.
I do think that Magic 2's high moments could be higher than KD2's high moments.
See, but that's what I'm saying.
You got nobody.
Store running nobody's on KD2, so you can't say that.
It's hard to say.
Because it's like Slow It Down and Pistols or the In Motion are the highlights. It's like, nah, nobody in Store Run are comparable to that. It's like Store Run and Slow It Down are a wash. Nobody in Pistols on your album cover. I'm probably taking nobody actually still, Mike. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so it's like Motion's better than Rare, but then it's like, not joking, Mike, but it's like, well, what about Death Row East? What about 40 Side?
Death Row East is on KD2.
What about Count Me In? What about My Bible? What about Brunch on Sunday even? It's like, no, he's got a lot of dope records on there, Mike.
Let me ask you this, though, and we can move on.
You like Moments.
I love Moments.
That's the Jan Sport J joint.
Yeah. Shout out to Jan Sport J.
Yeah, we about to talk to him. We're about to talk to his artist Snow soon. I'm about to reach out and try to make that happen.
Yeah, that project they put together is fire.
That shit's fire. Yeah, we need to talk about it.
Mitch with the super chat
See
says,
if we can get them Monday.
I look at X performing with Snoop during the verses and his Hip Hop 50 showing Fife, Prodigy, ODB, Plug should have been performing Hip Hop 50. Yeah. I want to ask you this and we'll move on, though. Do you think that Nas has become the unofficial or official ambassador for hip hop during this Hip Hop 50?
I think by way of mass appeal, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, by way of mass appeal, not directly, because, I mean, in true fashion, still kind of in the shadows with a little bit, but about the things mass appeal have literally been doing, like, pretty much since we've been doing this podcast, Mike. It's like, well, it'd be hard to say who
deserves it.
What company, conglomerate, entity in this sphere has been more dedicated to the culture of hip hop that you've seen since we've been doing the show than mass appeal?
No, you're right. They put in the work.
They put in the work.
Jay Short with the super chat says, other than nostalgia, is Stillmatic really better than KD3? We've gone through this and we did a Patreon with that. I think it's close. I feel we as Nas fans still have some bias towards the past too. I think time will definitely tell. I think KD3 is a lot closer to Stillmatic than people want to acknowledge, but his mic performance on Stillmatic is something else.
It is, and it's like, well, if you want to talk about some high moments, Mike.
Yeah.
Like, that album may have actual more high moments than any of his other albums. Not his best, but man, when he's like, like the Stillmatic intro, no, Mike.
Holiday Hell Day and stuff.
Yeah, but the Stillmatic intro, Mike, no, Mike, that might be his best intro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, period. Like, of his catalog, you know what I'm saying? Not counting New York State of Mind as an intro, but it's like, as far as like an intro song, it's like, oh no, that's the best intro he ever did.
What goes around comes around is special.
That might be one of his top 10 mic performances, Mike.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Rewind.
I like when he's in that song.
You're the Man.
Yeah.
Destroy and Rebuild. The Flyest. One Mic.
Yeah, he's
So
in a zone.
Ether's on there. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot, Mike. It's a lot. His highlights on there are high.
I've always said though, when we talk about this hip hop culture, and this is when I used to believe that maybe hip hop could have like a president, vice president, or whatever. I've always said like Chuck D should be, hip hop's representative, right? Like when the news media comes out there and comes down on hip hop, that really doesn't happen that much anymore. But to actually have a respected voice go out there and speak to the culture, I always looked at Chuck and KRS as those guys.
Mm-hmm.
I think Nas is that guy now.
You would say that they would be in advisor roles at this stage in the game, right? They would be trusted advisors.
Mm-hmm.
Have them in the cabinet.
He's brought everybody together.
Yeah.
He hasn't made it about himself, and I'm not saying that it is this as a slight or anybody. I'm just saying in general, it's been about Hip Hop 50. And like Cam acknowledged, he was like, a lot of people might not know that, Nas put this together. You know what I'm saying? And he made it a point to let people know that that's what it was.
Community love, providing jobs.
And so for the people, who did have discrepancies or do have discrepancies about how Hip Hop 50's taking place and maybe being way more East Coast, centric than they would like. He stepped up and did that.
That's what I mean.
Other people can actually step up and do the same thing.
Like Snoop could have did that on the West, and I'm not calling out Snoop. I'm just giving an example. People like Snoop or Ice Cube could have did that for the West Coast. Master P and Baby, Jermaine Dupri could have did it down here. No, there are other people that could have done what Nas and Mass Appeal just did, because Mass Appeal's a record label and a media marketing entity company. How many of these other guys are walking around with the same status and stature and have their own companies and, have their own cachet to make these sort of things shake?
And I'm not just saying this because I've had, not real conversations, but I've had interactions on social media with people from Mass Appeal. They're very approachable, right? I don't think if Master P, Luther Campbell, whoever was to go to Mass Appeal and be like, look, I want to do this, this, and this, that they would shit on him. I don't get that vibe. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm wrong, but I do believe that even if some of those factions who wanted to do their own thing even reached out to Master Appeal to do some of these things in concert in their own respected regions, I believe that they would have done it. Or you could just do it on your own. But I think that this whole Hip Hop 50 thing is about unity, and it would be good for everybody to be able to come together and
that's
put
what I'm
their
saying.
Respective
Mass
parts
Appeal
together.
didn't just start doing Hip Hop 50 stuff this year in
They've
year
been
number
doing
50.
They did a piece on cornbread out of Philly.
This has been a conscious effort by Mass Appeal, literally in the years prior to Hip Hop 50, approaching Hip Hop 50. So plenty of people have had time to even take notes and watch what they're doing and piggyback off of it.
Yeah.
And for some reason have chosen not to. And so for me, that just speaks to a care.
I guess. And I would love
time and money.
I would love to speak to some of the people who do have discrepancies to see what their side of it is. Maybe they have reached out to people and we don't know. You know what I'm saying? Maybe there is something there to that degree. But yeah, it just feels like Mass Appeal and Nas and his team, they really planned out for this, put in the work in conjunction with the museum and all those things. And they've been doing this for years. And I think people saw something that was already running and they felt left out. But they didn't, jump on it while it was building. You know what I mean?
Right.
It happens.
Politics as usual.
Bun B said something recently. You saw what Bun B said?
Mm-hmm.
He said that Houston, I'm paraphrasing it here. Houston looks after their older rappers more than New York and L.A. does. Now, the New York one didn't surprise me, but
that's
L.A. surprised me.
Well, that's true. The New York thing is true.
I feel like L.A. holds down their OGs more than anybody. That's what I thought. Am I wrong? You've spent time in Cali.
It's definitely a Cali-Houston conversation when I thought about it. But see, here's the thing, and I think here's what Bun is speaking to.
And he said L.A. He didn't say Cali. Let me not say Cali.
Oh, he's talking about L.A.?
He said L.A.
Ooh, okay, so.
Because the Bay's different.
Okay, so here's the thing. Just quick story right quick. So one of the guys that I just started working with recently, he's from the east side of Long Beach.
Mm-hmm.
And we're about the same age. He's only like 2 or 3 years younger than me. So it's like I bought up a local artist named Punch. he was big around the time Game was big. He was just local guy.
Right.
But for anybody that knew in the city, Punch could spit, you know what I'm saying, and was on par with Game. And Punch was from Compton, but I would see Punch in Orange County. I would see him in Riverside. I would see him in Long Beach, and he got a lot of love in those places. That's not L.A. You feel me? So it's like when Bun is saying L.A., it's like, possibly, but just Cali as a whole, at least SoCal, the way that I've seen it work, it's like, no, I can't say that because I've seen with my own two eyes local artists who literally are never going to make it past like maybe Arizona, New Mexico, be big and have money and like survive and thrive and be fine just sitting in a pocket of California.
I remember
maybe not just LA,
right?
But no, like all the parts in between in Costa Mesa and yeah.
I was in LA, man, this is nearly 10 years ago now, but out in I think it was like 2014 or whatever. And I was just surprised how LA radio was just playing like, you know, next episode. They was playing like all the old stuff. And this wasn't no old school hip hop station either.
No.
So that doesn't happen here. And I will call out Atlanta for that. We don't really take care of our veterans like that when it comes to radio play.
No, we whack.
I would have been okay if Bun B would have called us out. But LA, I didn't get that vibe.
We're not as bad as New York, but we're pretty bad.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. No, we're pretty bad.
I think
we're like the runner-up.
I think we are. But see, how do I say this? Atlanta's rap scene, I guess it's kind of like a microcosm of what hip-hop and black culture is anyway. I think we are so focused on the next thing that we don't cherish the past.
That doesn't excuse it.
We go on to the next thing so quickly, and it really sucks when Big Boy and Sleepy Brown are dropping an album and the city doesn't make a deal about it.
It doesn't excuse the behavior, though.
It's bad, you know, especially when our radio stations don't reciprocate that, because Outkast and Organized Noise, they made this scene. There would be no hip-hop stations in Atlanta like that for real without those guys and the impact that they put in.
Yeah, they whack. What I will say to Bun's point, and I think this is where Bun is probably making the strongest point, is that I think he's talking about, and this is what I can't speak to about the Cali thing because obviously I haven't lived there in quite some time.
Yeah.
The way they support that independent local artist
that
literally stayed local the entirety of the time. Like he's not talking about him. He's not talking about Face. He's not even talking about Sauce. You know what I'm saying? He's talking about the guys that literally have been local the last 10, 15 years.
The Zeros and guys like that.
That like literally the town keeps them alive and financially stable and solvent and keep them in the lifestyle that they have. And there might be something to that. But that's one of those things too, man. It's like you'd have to like be around and still down enough to like know that. But there is some to it. But the LA thing, it's like I don't know about that.
Well, I would say this in New York's defense too. I remember my first couple trips to New York, and even years and years after that, I would hear Biggie on the radio, but I guess Biggie's different. I don't know. New York not supporting.
Don't count Biggie.
Yeah, New York not supporting KD3 is a problem. And Get Light not getting any radio play in New York. I even hollered at Ebro about that. Like, tell me why this record's not getting any play.
They didn't play Wu-Tang Clan when Wu-Tang Clan was in their prime. It's an old problem, not a new problem.
Jay Short with the Super Chat says, unfortunately, I think there are too many politics in Cali to make that happen. Dudes be too emotional and petty out here sometimes. So I guess Jay Short's not denying that.
Right.
That's going on in Cali.
See, that's what I mean is like you can get California love. It's just like, you know, LA's real, you know, cliquey.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, I don't know how that California love like works in relationship to LA, but all the subsidiary parts coming together as a whole, it's like, yeah, I can see that. But I think Bun just talking about Houston. And so if he's just talking about like one city, he might have something to it, because it's like, no, I do feel like those LA artists need the people from Pasadena, and need the people from Long Beach, and need the people from Inglewood, and need the people from Watts, and need the people from Pomona, and the people from West Covina. Like, yeah, I do think San Diego, I do think that's part of it.
I think there's a notion out here for the people outside of LA or outside of the West Coast, I would say, that if Dre ain't involved, then the city is silent. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, also too, see, Cali and LA also has the fortune. You know what I mean? And here's the flip side to it. Well, a lot of their local guys blow up and become big guys, Mike, more so than in Houston.
no,
You know what I'm saying? It's like, no. Schoolboy Q ain't staying local forever. Kendrick ain't staying local forever.
Yeah.
Nipsey not staying local forever. Game not staying local forever. You feel what I'm saying? They have a long lineage of their local guy making it big. So there might not be as many local guys running around because most of the local guys that was running around crews that made it big, Mike. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of the game, did you hear what Warren G said?
I did. I was wondering if you heard what Warren G said, Mike.
Wait a minute.
I was wondering if you heard what Warren G said.
Let me read Jay Short.
Things just ain't the same for gangsters.
Listen, I've given the man props for that. Let me read Jay Short.
Tried to tell you about the Watcher, Mike.
It ain't like that. All right,
it is like that. I tried to tell you it's like that. That's Warren G talking.
Jay Short with the super chat says, Bun B doesn't take into account gentrification. The demographics of LA has changed in the last 2 decades. I think that's a very poignant point, and I think that's very accurate. This is what let me let people know what Warren G said. Warren G got on Drink Champs, and they asked him the game or Eminem, when clearly the answer is the game, right? But he was like, no question, Eminem. And he brought up the fact that Eminem wrote The Watcher, and he sat there and act like The Watcher was just this magnum opus of lyricism where he was like, man, Eminem got into Dre's head and yada, yada. Like, listen, man, we never talked about The Watcher like that, cool. And I've been on this show and I've said I like The Watcher. I've quoted The Watcher and I gave Eminem credit for his writing on The Watcher, but what we're not going to do is sit here and act like in 1999 when 2001 dropped, everybody was talking about the bar work on The Watcher. That wasn't the case. It wasn't. Let's not sit here and act like The Watcher was some magnum opus of lyricism. That's revisionist history.
I told you it's one of Dr. Dre's best songs.
It's not. You said that. It's not.
It is.
Because what you said, no, this is what you said. It's one of Dr. Dre's best solo performances on a song. And I'm like, well, that's a padded stat. How many solo songs does he really have? Like,
facts are facts.
See, you're discounting G thing. You're discounting next episode. Let's do it like this. Where does The Watcher rank on 2001?
I think it could be a top 5 song.
We about to go through this album.
You're going to say that.
KIC with the super chat says, Illmatic number 1. It Was Written number 2. Katie 3 number 3. I'm liking the way y'all thinking. Lost Tapes number 4. Magic number 5. Stillmatic number 6. Katie 2 number 7. Godson number 8. Magic 2 number 9. Number 10, Life is Good. Nas has 10 classics. Now, I don't completely agree with the order, but that's not a bad order.
Not a bad list.
It's not a bad order at all. I mean, like, I don't completely agree.
Katie 3's too high.
When you see Stillmatic at 6, you're like, damn, but, I mean, he has Magic, Lost Tapes, and KD 3 over it. I mean, that's not too bad.
No.
Mitch with the super chat says,
Stillmatic is
The
still
Watcher
probably
2 is
number
way
3.
better than the first one.
Stillmatic is probably still number 3 or 4.
Okay, let's pull up 2001. I know this album by heart because I love this album. It's actually one of my favorite hip-hop albums of its time period. The Watcher is obviously the first song. You think The Watcher is better than Fuck You with Devin, Dude, and Snoop?
I do.
I ain't mad at that. It's not better than Still D.R.E. So next. It's not better than Explosive. It's not better than What's the Difference?
I like it more than What's the Difference.
I don't, but okay. I could see where you're coming
That's
from.
Fine.
Nah, is it better than Forgot About Dre? I think so.
I think so.
Nowadays, everybody want to talk like they got something to say.
Don't you don't have to mock the man, Mike.
I'm not mocking him. That's how he rapping. He was rapping. Yeah. So nowadays, everybody want to talk like they got something to say. You want me to deepen the voice or something? Like, that's how the nigga was rapping.
Petty level high.
The next episode.
No, it's not better.
It's not better than that.
All right. So we got 3 songs better.
Let's see. We got L.A. Niggas.
No.
Yeah, I think it's better than the rest of those records. I think the only one that might be close is.
So it's fourth. So forgot about Dre.
I think What's the Difference is better.
Okay, but that would still put it in the top 5. Even if you said What's the Difference is better, it would still be in the top 5. It's a top 5 record on 2001.
All right, now let's pull up the Chronic.
Stop that.
I'm just saying, like.
Stop that.
So it's not as high as we're sitting here making it. I mean, it's a dope record. It's a dope record. And I think he did a great job.
I mean, the Chronic has a lot of great songs. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that. Never mind, scratch that.
Yeah, man. I mean, you want to put that over G Thing? Or is it even on that level?
No, it's not on the level of like the first half of the Chronic.
I'm sorry, I have to let people know I'm doing a show, man. People
ditto.
Me up and
the record, all the records from like record 1 to like from Dre Day to Lil Ghetto Boy are all better than The Watcher on the Chronic.
And they said Mike is actually a Eminem stan. You guys caught me.
You do know more of his verses than I do offhand.
I mean, I'm just educated on stuff that I criticize.
Is that the reason? What's the next topic?
Nowadays, everybody wants to talk. You want to talk about Russ and his discrepancies, or this Trap Mount Rushmore, or late registration? I want to talk late registration.
I want to talk late registration.
I want to talk late registration.
Right.
18 years ago today,
this is
Kanye
actually some
West.
Kanye we should be talking about.
Yeah, man. I hear Kanye's working on some new music. That's what I heard.
Let's talk about late registration, Mike.
Well, late registration is your favorite Kanye West album.
Is.
It turns 18 years old today. Odd story, man. When late registration came out, this is what me and my homies used to do. We would, around that time, it's like 05, we would all collectively come together and listen to an album at the same time, right?
Right.
Put it in the CD player, let it ride, and you know what I'm saying? And it was kind of like a Motown thing where everybody was sitting there like, you fucking with this? You know, yay, nay, whatever, next song. And I remember us sitting there listening to Late Registration. And at the moment, maybe because he was taking things in a different direction at the time, it wasn't as sample heavy as we were used to, or as I was used to from him. I really wasn't feeling the album first listen. Yeah, I know.
Mike, I'm looking at this track list.
Yeah, it's heavy. No, I was like that with Bonds Over Bad Dad too the first time I heard it. I was like, what is this? But
you talking about a record. I'm talking about this album. Ooh, this album was ooh.
Well, we heard Diamonds first, and then Gold Digger, and then I think that, you know,
those
the rest
might not
of the
even
album.
be top 5 records on this album. That's why this album is so great and why I think it's his best project. I mean, Mike, almost everything on here is classic or close to it. Like, most of the records on, first of all, there's not a bad record on here, but all the records on here are great, and there's a lot of classic stuff on.
Well, I'm going to let you get to it. Hold on. AB Studios with the Super Chat says, so Warren G recently said he produced The Chronic and got no pennies, no publishing. Dr. Dre got ghost producers. I'm sorry. Dr. Dre is a mixer/engineer. Question mark.
Even the skits, Mike, the broke five broke, we ain't got it.
Oh, yeah. Those are great.
We ain't got it.
Okay, so why would you say
These
that
are
Late Registration is your favorite Kanye West album?
No, because it's his best album.
Okay.
Because it's his best album.
Oh, you say it's his best album.
Because it has the most, okay, your best album usually has the best songs on there. This is the album with the best songs from beginning to end of any of his projects, including My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Like, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy feels more classic, but song for song, this is the project. Mike, Heard 'Em Say with Adam Levine.
Great record.
Touch the Sky with Lupe.
Great record.
Gold Digger, Mike.
Great
Drive
record.
Slow with Paul Wall.
Stop it, Gold Digger.
Like,
I've always thought that, you know, like how I say about Bonds Over Bad
Mike,
Dad,
no.
Pass.
All these songs are great. We've only named 3 songs. They're great.
No, we're gonna take
songs
this
are
slow.
great.
I think the Gold Digger exemplifies who Kanye West is as an artist. If somebody dropped down from outer space and it was like, who's this Kanye West guy as an artist?
Yes.
I'm probably going to play them Gold Digger. It's witty. It's a banger. It actually has content and context to it. He's being funny. He's being serious. It's everything. Like, that record is who he is.
It's a great manifesto record.
It is.
It is.
I mean, past, present, and future. You can look at Gold Digger. I mean, they always quote the record when they talk about his relationships. You know what I mean?
You stay trying and you stay right, girl. And when he get on,
Yeah.
he leave your ass for a white girl.
It's a great record. It's a great record.
A little foreshadowing by Kanye, too, about what was happening to him. So
he said drive slow. You were at drive slow.
We heard him say touch the sky, gold digger, Mike. I mean, those records are all fives to me. That's what I'm saying. Like, all those records are five. Drive slow, Mike, 5.
I love drive slow.
Drive slow. Like, drive slow for some people is the best record on this album.
I think drive slow, and I love when T.I. got
the story
on
here is great, too.
It reminds me of this album's version of Spaceship.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And it's better than Spaceship.
It's better than Spaceship, and that's saying a lot.
Yeah.
Mike, My Way Home, the Common feature.
I love that shit.
This shit crazy.
Yeah, with the Gil Scott-Heron, yeah.
Crack music, Mike?
I like crack music. I like where he took it on
I'm about to say,
music.
crack music is another one of those songs. It's like, who's Kanye? It's like right there. From the place where the father's gone, the mother's is hardly home.
It's very power-like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is power before power.
Mm-hmm.
How the Mexicans say you just trying to party, Holmes. They want to lock us all in a box like styrofoam. Who gave Saddam anthrax? George Bush got the answers. Back in the hood, it's another type of chemical. Arm & Hammer, baking soda, raise they whole quota. No, he's going crazy on this album, Mike. He's a star. These bars are high. These beats are incredible.
This is when he becomes a star. I will give you that.
Mike, we haven't named a bad song yet. We're halfway through the album. All these songs are great. Mike, what might be his best song to me? Roses.
Love Roses.
I know it's past visiting hours, but can I please give her these flowers? They say her heart can't take the anesthesia. It'll send her body into a seizure. That little thing by the hospital bed, it'll stop beeping. Hey, chick, I'm at a loss for words.
Melvin Wright with the super chat says, I remember riding in my car and Shade 45 debuted We Major. And as I'm vibing to it, I remember saying Nas would sound great on that beat. And when he came on it, I lost my shit. Had to pull over.
Like, Bring Me Down with Brandy is probably the weakest point of this album.
I think so, too.
But then it picks right back up with Addiction.
Yeah.
And then it's Diamonds from Sierra Leone.
That beat from Addiction's crazy.
Addiction's one of the best records on here, Mike.
Diamonds. Let's talk Diamonds. To me, that was his coming out party as an MC. Like, I think that was the first song I heard from this album in relation to, first song I heard on this album. So everything I heard before that was College Dropout, right? And when he comes out there, close your eyes and imagine, feel the magic, Vegas on acid, seen through East St. Laurent glasses. I'm like, yeah, he's a different rapper than he was on College Dropout.
Rapping. That's what I'm saying. Is just like, the guy on College Dropout is insightful and witty.
Right. This
guy is those things, and he got bars, Mike. And the production is cleaner and crisper. These songs are more complete and finished than the ones on the College Dropout. People hate to admit it. It's like, no, song for song, College Dropout do not want to go with these records. These are fives. These records are 5 out of 5.
If you're talking about clean and engineering and quality,
I'm talking song for song. It don't matter.
College Dropout is. It's kind of like the difference between 36 Chambers and Wu-Tang Forever. You know what I mean? Like, they're better on Wu-Tang Forever. The songs are cleaner on Wu-Tang Forever. But
this ain't no
Into
Wu-Tang.
the 36 is just raw.
This ain't no Wu-Tang Forever. These songs are better than the songs on College Dropout.
I agree with that.
You know what I'm saying?
This album's better than Wu-Tang Forever.
It's like, oh, fuck yeah. Easy. Yeah. Like, no, Mike, I'm sorry. Like, Gold Digger better than Slow Jams. Fuck what you heard.
It is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, Touch the Sky.
But is it better than Through the Wire?
Touch the Sky is better than Get 'Em High. You feel what I'm saying?
It is. It's a weird comparison, but I get you.
Yeah, Mike, We Major better than 2 Words.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
now that I disagree.
We Major's better than 2 Words. You overrate 2 Words.
2 Words is crazy.
It's just Mos Def's verse. I hate to be the one to break it to you. It's
Kanye's verse on this is crazy too, man.
It's just good. It's not this. Mike,
save me.
Mike, we can keep going. So it goes to Diamonds to We Major. So he has the J and the Nas feature back to back.
Unpopular opinion, I like the regular Diamonds over the remix.
That's fair. Hey Mama.
Incredible.
Mike, my low-key favorite joint on this album is Celebration. I love Celebration. It's great. Gone with Consequence, Late. Mike, this is a tour. No, Mike, this is the best. This is the best shit he ever made in the end.
What's the best song on that album?
That's the problem, Mike. It's like, well, it depends on where you want to go. I think it's Roses because it's like that's the vulnerable Kanye that executes the song that we rarely get. That's why Roses is the song on the album to me because it's like, oh, we're not going to get that guy again. Like we've gotten different versions of that guy, but we haven't gotten that guy back since he made Roses, and that's why I think Roses is special. So I would say Roses is the best song on this album still.
I think Late Registration is when this man became a superstar. And
like you can pull up his
he
other
left
albums.
the producing thing. I don't want to say left it behind, but before Late Registration, it was all about he's a producer that raps. Now he's the rapper.
He can rap his ass off.
Yeah.
Mike, he doesn't have an album that song for song matches these songs. He doesn't. He doesn't have. He doesn't have.
I think you might be surprised if you put College Dropout against it. I mean, I hear what you're saying. He elevated on just about everything that he was doing on College Dropout, but the feel that College Dropout had,
and I hear you,
that off the wall thriller thing again.
It might be some more. This is off the wall thriller type of thing. Yeah.
And I want people to be clear. I got Thriller over Off the Wall.
I got Off the Wall over Thriller, but I got Late Registration over the College Dropout. Mike, these songs are too great, Mike. I remember being in Cali when this came out, and I remember he was in Vegas on a billboard, and I was like this nigga's already playing in Vegas?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, because Gold Digger was out. I was like, oh, yay, big.
Yep.
Like Kanye's big.
And you know what's interesting about Gold Digger is the fact that he's a producer. He's giving everybody else all kind of hits, great beats, and this, that, and the third.
Not like this.
He wouldn't have given any. I mean, I don't think anybody would even pick the Gold Digger beat. You know what I'm saying? Like, he did things to that beat, like we were talking about with DMX. He did things to that beat that nobody else would have been able to do to that track.
Like crack music? It's like crack music should have been on Game's album.
Now, I could see that.
But no.
No,
My Way Home should have been on Common album. Kanye like, no.
No, that's
my
fine.
album, Drive Slow should have been on Paul Wall album. Kanye like, no.
No, that's my record.
It's my record. And come on in here.
Critical Mass with the Super Chat says, there's a section of black men who feel proud of themselves for putting Eminem over black MCs. They want to prove so bad that they don't care about race. It's weird. That does sound weird.
No, Mike, there are 12 great records on this. Like, not good. There are 12 great records on this album. I don't think he has an album with 12 great records, including My Beautiful Dark. Not great.
All right. You're going to make me do
great?
This. You're going to make me do this. So we're going to go College Dropout.
You don't want to do it.
Let's go College Dropout.
That's fine.
We do this on this show. We don't care.
Heard him say.
I think We Don't Care is better than
I think Heard him say is better. My Aunt Pam picking the cigarettes down. And my little cousin picking up them cigarettes now.
I don't know, man. We don't care what people say. They trying to cut the lights out like we don't live here. Like, it's like what he say their favorite 50 Cent song is 12 Questions. Dyslexic.
Heard him say
I love
that
song. Record.
Heard him say is better.
That's such a great intro. I think it's his best intro, in my opinion.
I think Heard him say is his best intro.
He also has a great intro when it comes to
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy actually is the best intro, Mike. I
love that intro.
Too many Urkels on your team. That's why your win's low.
That beat is crazy.
Yeah.
Don't make me pull the toys out. All
Hey.
right, we got All Falls Down.
Got Touch the Sky. I actually think
that's
that's All Falls
Down
Down.
is a better song.
I think that's All Falls Down.
Then we got Spaceship.
Gold Digger. Gold Digger's
Digger
bigger.
got that.
Yeah.
Jesus Walks.
Drive Slow.
Jesus Walks.
You can have that.
Never Let Me Down.
My Way Home, Common.
Never Let Me Down, Lance. That.
That's cool.
Get 'Em High.
Crack music's better than Get 'Em High.
I don't know about that one, Coop.
Put it in the chat.
I don't know about that
Put it
one.
in the chat. I don't want to
Crap
talk to you about
music
it.
or Get 'Em High.
You be overrating Get 'Em High. It's just really Common's verse. The rest of it's just.
Who the fuck is this? Emailing me at 11:36, telling me that she 3626.
Yeah, give me crack music.
Let's see, Workout Plan. You know what? You was dissing Workout Plan the other day, man.
It's whack. Roses.
Workout Plan is fire, man.
It's not
I
better
was
than
listening to
Roses.
Workout Plan the other day. Hold on 1 second, man. Hello? Hey, I'm doing a show. Can I hit you back? I'm doing a show. Can I hit you back? All right. Okay, all right, I'll hit you back. Sorry about that. Kept getting calls. I was like, I'm going to put it on Do Not Disturb. But I didn't want to do that because, I'll lose everything in the chat. So what? We, Workout Plan is not whack.
Roses. It's better.
Roses is better than Workout Plan.
Yeah.
Slow Jams.
Bring Me Down. You can have that.
All right. I feel like I'm winning more.
Hold on. How many of you won, really? You didn't win the first one. You put that in the chat.
We could tie that one up, but I feel like I won the first one. Now, this is the weakest point of this album. Breathe in, breathe out.
Addiction's better than breathe in, breathe out.
Oh, yeah, for sure. School Spirit.
Diamonds from Sierra Leone.
Yeah, that's Diamonds.
See how you start losing, Mike?
2 words.
We major.
2 words is better.
Chat.
We just talked about this.
Chat.
Through the Wire.
Hey Mama. That's Through the Wire.
That's Through the Wire, but I love Hey Mama.
But I love Hey Mama.
Yeah.
It's not like some blowout. Yeah. Hey Mama's
Family
great.
Business.
Celebration. I like
Family
Celebration
Business.
more. Right.
Yeah.
See, some of it's his preference.
Yeah.
Some of
Last
it's his
Call.
See, I got Gone and I got Late. That's what I mean. Is like
Last Call's better.
I don't think Last Call's better than Late.
You don't think so?
No.
Last Call is epic.
I like Late more than I like Last Call. What would you do for a Klondike? For 2 dikes, that's Christina Milian. Like,
Well, this man has a very special catalog because he has 4 albums that many people, or a lot of people, will argue are his best albums.
yeah, no, he has 3 or 4 legitimate albums. You can say it's like, no, that's his best shit. Because I tell you what, it's like my favorite Kanye song might be on what I think is his 4th best album, and that's Graduation. Because Flashing Lights might be my favorite Kanye song.
I don't even think Outkast has a catalog like that. I don't think many people will tell you Stankonia is Outkast's best album.
No,
Maybe
that's what I'm
they
saying.
would.
People walk around and will tote Graduation around like Graduation's number 1, and I'm like, man,
Yeah.
like, that's number 4 on my list.
Yeah. He has 4 legitimate number 1 albums for people.
Well, he has 4 legitimate classics.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's special.
Yeah.
Most quote unquote rapping ass rappers don't have 4 legitimate classics. So
And he sold a lot of records. And he made the hits. And he has the critical acclaim.
I say he's made classics for other people. Daytona,
Yeah.
B, Finding Forever, The Blueprint.
He's very hard to
Co-production.
rank. Because I think we rank people by MC skills, right?
He's got skills. This is the album
He
that
does.
showed he got skills.
Exactly.
Late Registration is the skill. How about this? This is like the ATLiens album. It's like, you hear how this motherfucker rapping?
You're right.
You hear how he's rapping on here, though.
Would anybody say that Kanye West is a better MC than LL Cool J?
Yes, there are people who feel that way.
Because he's covered more topics.
He's made better albums.
Could LL make a Jesus Walks?
That's not fair.
It's not fair. But it's
That's
what
not
it
fair.
is.
Be fair.
Do you think that
Be fair.
Do you think Kanye can make the records that LL made? I don't think he can make Mama Said Knock You Out.
See, that's the thing. It's so
But would
hard
he
to
need
gauge.
to?
Right.
Can't Tell Me Nothing gives you that feel, right?
Yeah, what did he fall off from? Late Registration? Right. No. Ain't no Mama Said Knock You Out vibes. He didn't fall off from nothing.
Yeah.
He was off Late Registration. He was winning big.
Should he be ranked over somebody like a LL Cool J, who is top 10, one of the greatest ever. Longevity is incredible.
Here's what I'll tell you. Kanye's records aren't as classic as L's records. He's got more, but he doesn't have, like, here's the thing. If Gold Digger is his calling card, that's not enough for Jingling, baby.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
I think when we're talking about individual songs, right, I don't think many people can contest with LL when it comes to that.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
His Achilles heel is the album part of it in relation to his all-time great peers.
Forget Oreos, eat Cool J cookies, I'm bad. It's like, I don't know if he has like that. Like, that's what I'm saying is it's like Jesus Walks and Through the Wire are special, but it's like, I mean, I'll just say this respectfully. It's like, well, it ain't Dear Mama, and it ain't getting played like in a lot of hip hop spaces where normally hip hop get played. Nah, you can take some of L shit everywhere. You feel what I'm saying?
You don't think Kanye stuff gets played in hip hop spaces like that?
No. I'm just talking about specifically those would probably be his best records in a lot of people's opinion in terms of like, stuff he's released. It's like Jesus Walks and Through the Wire, those records he's done that quote unquote other people can't do.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But when he does the other thing, it's like, how about this? What record does he have that it's like when it comes on is comparable to like Doing It with L? Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you know what happens when Doing It comes on, right? Like, motherfuckers literally go wild. You feel what I'm saying? Like, what record does Kanye have like that when it drops in the club? It's like, oh, that's that shit. Because L got a lot of joints like that from a lot of different eras, a lot of different ways. It's like, no, he's got Doing It, but he's got Jingling Baby. But he's got Mama Said Knock You Out. But he's got Going Back to Cali. But he's got Booming System. But he's got Around the Way Girl. But he got Radio.
Yeah.
He got a lot.
bangers.
He got a lot. He got a lot of different type of bangers that play well in all the hip hop spaces, though.
In different eras.
Right. But it plays well everywhere, Mike.
LP with the super chat says he's had a lot of help, though, and we're not bringing it up. Mad help on beats and writers, but better than LL, Kanye didn't make Jesus Walks either. LOL.
I told you, John Bryan is the reason that Late Registration sounds so clean from Fiona Apple's Extraordinary Machine.
Well, again, is it wrong that he went out there and got a John Bryan to go out there and co-produce the album with him? Those are the things that we talked about we want Cole to do, right?
I was actually about to say,
because at the end of the day, it's about making the best music possible, right?
It's his best rapping ass rapper album.
Yeah, because
you want to know why?
Because he didn't have to focus on all the production.
Say it again, Mark.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what I mean.
It's about being smart. I'll say this, man. Like, I respect talent. Justin Timberlake has made really good music in his career. Do I think that he is the best singer, dancer, or any of those things? No. But he's smart. He's a smart singer.
And he's got a lot of bangers.
He is a smart dancer.
He's got a lot of bangers.
Exactly. He knows who to get, where to get them, where he's comfortable at vocally to make the best product. There's nothing wrong with being smart.
He's got a lot of bangers.
You got some people out there who will go out there and try to do everything, and the project suffers because they're not playing to their strengths. Kanye's great at playing to his strengths. He'll go call RZA. He'll go call Pete Rock when he needs to.
He'll call Havoc.
Yeah. I mean, look at My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Everybody got credit on there.
Everybody.
Because it was about making the best effort. And I don't know when we got to this whole, maybe it's that Michael Jordan mentality where we act like people are supposed to win by themselves or something. Because we don't hold Jay-Z to this standard, because clearly he's had a lot of help over the years too when it comes to his big records.
Well, I've said that.
Yeah.
So we picking and choosing our fruit again.
Exactly.
Because Ye isn't.
Ye does more work on an album than Jay does. Let's keep it real. Because he has to produce, he has to write, he has to bring people together.
You always brought up.
He does.
You know what? You always brought up how big Common would be or Scarface would be if they were from New York. Imagine how big Kanye would be if Kanye was from New York.
Who did the most work on Watch the Throne, in your opinion?
Who did the best work?
The most work and the best work. So
that's one of those knock chinks in Jay's armor to me. It's like you let Ye do you like that.
And my thing is,
I was disappointed
for all the people who, quote unquote, have helped Kanye, what's their shit look like without him? We don't do this to Dr. Dre. He has a lot of help.
Well, here's the thing about it. It's not like people's shit don't look good without him. It's like, no, Jay got Reasonable Doubt without Kanye.
Yeah.
Pusha T got Hell Hath No Fury without him.
Yeah.
Common got Like Water for Chocolate without him. Most people don't think that's their best shit.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that's not their best shit.
It's when he comes around. Kid Row with the Super Chat says, Ye's best artist, hip hop created. Keyword artist. Okay. But isn't that what this is? I guess you got the MC and then you got the artist. I mean, I think when it comes to overall artists, I don't think there's any argument because I don't think there's anybody who's produced and, performed at the level that he has.
No, he's the only top 15, 20 rapper and top 5 producer. He's the only guy.
Yeah.
He's very much LeBron James in that regard. It's like, oh no, top 5 all-time scoring and assists.
Triple-double, no assists. As he said.
Right.
And I love the fact that he set Nicki up on Monster. It's very Q-tip scenario-ish.
Monster's overrated. I'm sorry.
Well,
it doesn't even register on the posse. It doesn't even register on the posse cut thing.
I mean, it's 3 of them. Well, I guess Rick Ross got a part in there.
It's not enough.
But will you at least say that Monster gave Nicki a platform? It's very Busta Rhymes scenario-ish.
Yeah, but it's not. It's just not. It's not that
it's just good. You're not a fan of it. You're not a Nicki Minaj fan.
Not a big fan. I respect what she does. I like a lot of her records. I love her feature game and her hook game. But that is one of the weaker records on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
I've always felt that way, too.
Monster's one of the weaker records. I'm sorry.
But I think her performance was really strong. I think that song...
It's more scene stealing than it is strong.
I think that song was tailored around her.
It's kind of like that Control verse. It's like, yeah, that ain't really... Nah, not even the best song on there. I mean, not even the best verse on the song.
I'm not trying to be funny, but you know how we've been quoting all these rhymes this whole episode? I can't even really quote you the Control verse.
So what?
I can't. I don't know it. Like, I don't know it.
I've been trying to tell people.
I know he said, I'm the king of New York, and he called out rappers and stuff, but usually when it's a dope verse like that, I quote it.
Mike.
But I can quote his shit at least.
Well,
LP with the super chat says, we
Good
hold
for
it
you.
against Dre, so we got to be fair. Do we hold it against Dre, though? Do we? Speaking of which, man, I'm getting my list together for this Dr. Dre Kanye thing, too.
man, what happened to the Wu-Tang Tribe?
We're going to
thing,
do the
Mike?
Wu-Tang and Tribe. I'm kind of scared. I ain't going to lie. I mean, getting the schedule together, but, you know.
What's up with Dre and Q-Tip? Is Dre and Q-Tip? Is that what we're doing?
No, we're doing Dre and Kanye.
I'm taking Dre, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you in
Don't
trouble.
run from Ye.
No, you're in trouble.
Jay Short with the super chat says, if we're playing fantasy A&R, what musical direction would you tell Kanye to take to regain form? Lane, it's wide open this year. This is the thing, man. I think he can go in so many directions, right? I think that he's mastered himself. I think where he is kind of gone off the walls per se is trying to dare to be different. I think he could take it back to the basis, and he has such a story. I think that it can translate, right? I think he needs to just talk about himself. He needs to get personal again.
You know what he really needs to do? He just needs to be the guy from the What Would Meek Do verse.
Mm-hmm. Getting personal again.
But like, that's the guy. Like that the guy that's on What Would Meek Do? No, that's the guy from the College Dropout. That's the guy from Late Registration, Graduation. Like that's him. And it's like, really, when he operates, I mean, and this may seem funny to say, it's like even Kanye, for as great as Kanye is, Mike, Kanye operates best in hip hop spaces.
He does.
And so all this genre bleeding that's going on, no, that's not his best shit. Yeezus and 808s and Pablo and Ye and all this other and Donda.
They have their moments, but you're right. I mean, he operates the best in hip hop spaces. He knows the breaks. Even
when he's blending it, like doing the Daft Punk shit with Graduation, bringing in John Bryan, like there's nothing wrong. It's almost like, you know what? It's almost like he was like bringing bits and pieces outside of hip hop inside, and then he started doing the fusion thing, and the fusion thing isn't where his best music is at, quite frankly.
What's the recent song that he put together with the Donny Hathaway sample? You know what I'm talking about? Where he was like, "One day we'll all be free."
Yeah,
that shit was hard.
That shit hard.
And you know, he took the same sample that No ID took from 444, and he did it in
actually made it a good beat.
Yeah, because he knows, like, he's such a smart artist. And
so this is what I mean.
So sonically, it's gonna go. What he needs to do is get back to, like you said, being personable and relatable.
This is what I mean about the fusion records, though. It's like, nah, he don't have no, like, Mike, nothing on Yeezus is top. It's top Ye shit. Like, what's the most classic record? You think there's a greatest hit record on Yeezus?
I think New Slave could be considered that.
Think that's a top 20 Ye record?
I think New Slave is crazy, but I don't know if it's a top 20. He got a lot of songs.
So I look at it.
But it could make a greatest hits list, and I wouldn't look at it crazy. Like,
okay, but it's like, start looking at where his greatest hits would come from. They mostly come from his rapping ass rap albums, Mike. That would be The College Dropout, Late Registration, Graduation, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Like, the other shit just don't pop like the rap shit, so he needs to understand that too. You know what I mean? Like, he understands it when he does stuff for artists. He understands it when he works with Common. Right. He understands it when he works with Pusha T. No, same rules apply to him, Mike, because too much of what's wrong with him is the fusion and the genre bleeding. It's like, I mean, not to be funny, it's like, nigga, will you just make a rap album again?
Well, that's him being a producer, though.
And I dig that, but it's like, also, too, at some point, you have to do what works. That's part of that. That is part of it. It's like part of like, the beautiful part about being an artist is that you do get to create whatever you want, but you know, don't think that you're like creating the shit and that the shit's still good just because you're trying something different. Trying something different doesn't mean good.
People in the chat disagree with you. They say that Yeezus is aged well. I hear that a lot too. I hear a lot of people saying that Yeezus is one of his strongest efforts.
Okay, go play Yeezus right after you play The College Dropout in Late Registration. That's a laugh. That's laughable.
I will say this.
That's some bullshit.
I could see where he can go with his next album. I have no clue where Jay-Z can go with his next album. I don't.
Kanye can go where he wants. I'll just prefer that he'd find some comfortable hip-hop spaces. That's all.
He knows how to dance around those breaks and stuff, too. I think that song that's on Donda, the one with the Lauryn Hill sample, I think that could have been a single, to be perfectly honest with you.
You keep telling yourself that, Mike.
No, I think it could have. You don't think that was a good enough record to be a single?
No. I don't think
like
any
that
of those records are good enough.
That song was dope, man.
I told you that.
You're a Donda hater.
Records
Praise
no
God's
good.
incredible.
Praise God's a great record.
Yeah.
The rest of them records ain't like that, Mike. It's like about 10 good songs. They like, it was a struggle to like about 10 of them records. It's bad. It's not good. Stop telling me that it's good.
So Russ was talking about his record sales. Billboard weren't really counting them right. I've been saying this since the baby drop. I don't want to say drop, since his numbers fell off a cliff. I don't believe these numbers, these first week numbers. We've had these conversations even about some of these Hit-Boy efforts and stuff like that. It's like, it's really funny stuff going on. And Russ has seemed, he's calling it out. I think he has some inside information. He knows that some of this stuff is kind of fraudulent.
I don't know. There's some banana in the tailpipe going on, Mike.
Now, I think they were doing this even back when records were actually selling, when we bought physical discs. I think they were inflating shit then. But now you can't even police it. It's just streaming.
No. I think it actually wasn't going on like that, Mike, because it's like, well, you used to literally ship out 1 million records, and you knew exactly where those 1 million records
You worked at a record store, so yeah, you know that part of the process.
Like literally, Mike, so how about this? It's like, I remember when Country Grammar came out, okay? And it hadn't popped yet. We had 10 copies of it come in. Mike, it popped. 10 copies turned into 60 copies. By the time Eon and Rap, it was 120 copies we was ordering. You know what I'm saying? Like, they knew how to track it. And so, like, what Russ is speaking to is some of what we've been speaking to. It's like, how y'all tracking all this, really?
Right.
And why?
How do we know it's official?
And what Russ is really letting you in on is that as an independent, they don't count your package bundles if you don't belong to a major label.
Wow.
That is literally where most independent artists are thriving and making their actual money.
Right.
And so where they're actually making their most money, they're not counting it towards actual sales because they're not with an official label. It's pretty much saying, since you chose to do this for yourself,
on your own,
we will not support you in any sort of way other than what we're forced to support you on.
Yeah. Well, see,
that's absurd.
And that's why even when we talk about the fans supporting and going out there streaming this and that, it's like, I feel like the fans do what they can, but there are forces out there who are even suppressing the fans that are out here supporting Russ. You know what I mean? Like, that's the part that sucks. The fans who are actually out here supporting their artists aren't even getting that credit that they're supporting their artists.
So when you're pulling up in the cities and you're looking at this guy and it's like, man, there's like 5,000 people in here. But Billboard said he only sold 15,000 copies of his album.
Exactly.
It's like they looking at you like you crazy because it's like, oh no, all 10,000 of them done bought bundle copies of the. And it's not counting.
What did you see at Madison Square Garden when Nas did The Garden? Did you see people who were there to see stuff from the 90s or people who were aware that he has new music out?
I mean, I still haven't released my footage from the show. I'm probably going to start posting it. But it's like I told you, Mike, 40, 16, and 30 got some of the biggest responses.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
But see, the numbers wouldn't reflect that. But when you see it in real life, it's different.
It's
like
different.
Back in the day, you could actually see motherfuckers with the CD. You could see people with the record or whatever at these concerts trying to get certain things signed.
Right.
But see, now there's really no.
And what's crazy, you know what's crazy
There's no
about
real
all
checks
this?
and balances.
You know what's crazy about all this? Billboard actually used to be one of the main proponents that actually used to help the labels find the next big artist.
Yeah.
Like, I can remember when Scarface became a head of Def Jam South, he was talking about some artists that was like, yeah, I'm going to wait till such and such get about 20,000 copies sold on Billboard. So it's like Billboard used to keep track of this stuff, so that there is something about the integrity, once again, which we end up talking about a lot, being lost, because essentially what they're doing is they're changing the rules to be in bed with the record companies and to take more money from the artists. That's essentially what this is about at the end of the day.
That's what it seems like.
No, it ain't what it seems. It's like, that's exactly what it is. It's like there's like actually a laid out blueprint and plan that says, well, I don't care, how great your music is. If you're not signed to a major label, we're not counting this bundle, which should count as multiples. You get what I'm saying?
That's the problem with the fact that
you got a vinyl.
Music is essentially free, right? Yeah. And so you wouldn't be able to play these games back when somebody had to pop the trunk and, like you said, either sell that unit to somebody or get that unit in the store and somebody's responsible for that unit. You can't play those games.
So,
but when you have to stream and things like that, it's like it's up in the air. We can change the numbers or whatever.
Mike, I can remember when Ludacris came to Manifest in Charlotte with Incognito and signed our consignment sheet and bought 20 copies and signed the stuff, and we put 20 copies of Incognito on the shelf, and we watched as it sold. And you know what I mean? We watched him blow up through our record store, and it's like we watched it get repackaged and come back out through Def Jam later the next. You know what I mean? It's like we watched all that happen. So it's like, no, I know that it actually used to happen, and I know it's not happening the same way that it used to happen.
So how does an independent artist really get that level of credit?
Right. You used to be able to like literally, Mike. Like, how about this? It's like I can remember when I ordered my It Was Written CD from the UK because it had Silent Murder on it, Mike. I could go into the system and see from our other 7 stores how many people had ordered the same copy as me of that album. It's like
checks and balances.
There used to be full accounting and check and balances from the record store all the way up to the label, and you knew what you were getting. We knew what we were getting months in advance. When Volume 3 was dropping, it's like, okay, we're getting 300 copies of Volume 3.
Right.
It's coming out on New Year's Eve. It's Jay. Do It Again is buzzing everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, that's what the whole terminology shipping gold was. Like, you know, you done shipped 500,000 copies.
And so in the labels,
and we'll see what happens.
And the labels and the people in charge are calling the record store and are like, boom, what's such and such?
Right.
What's such and such sell? What's such and such? And getting your numbers, you send them the sheet. It's that. You know what I'm saying?
Antonio with the Super Chat says, I was hoping that Nas would get another #1 album in this decade, which would make him the first to do so in 4 different decades.
It's not over
How
yet.
these numbers are being manipulated, I'm not sure if it'll happen. To me, this is kind of like a Hall of Fame, baseball Hall of Fame thing with Barry Bonds. To me, at this point, those charts don't mean anything. We can't quantify them in the same way. Like, you know what I mean? Like when we see,
if you were there,
when we see when we see like these stats where it's like such and such has passed Aretha Franklin with the most #1s, or such and such has passed Michael Jackson the most top 10 singles. It's not the same.
I mean, and that's great.
It's not.
And kudos to them. But this is what I mean is like having more doesn't mean having better. It's like
But they're not playing on the same field either. Can you imagine if Michael Jackson was in the streaming era? You know what I'm saying? Like, if we were sitting here gauging his numbers based on how many times somebody played this record or how many times somebody went on YouTube and tried to learn the choreography to, you know what I'm saying,
That's
Smooth
what I mean.
Criminal or something.
That's what I mean. Just imagine what life would be like for him in this era, just with Thriller, Mike.
Yeah.
Imagine how many times we as black culture
we would
watched
play this shit
over and over again. Mike, there were days where I had people who I knew that literally would pop that Thriller tape in and would play that shit all day.
I mean,
over and over.
110 or 15 million people bought it for a reason. Because people were playing that shit over and over. You got the Halloween theme song and Thriller in itself. Then you got the PYT and all of that stuff. Like,
yeah, Human Nature.
Yeah. I think Human Nature is a top 2 Michael Jackson song.
I can't help it might be my favorite Mike song.
Favorite and best are 2 different things, but I think that
Human Nature might be.
I think Billie Jean's his best song. I think that Human Nature is his second best song. Third, if you ask me today, Mike, I might say Off the Wall.
I don't know, Mike. Rock With You.
That's what I'm debating. I think that Rock With You would be 4 and Can't Help It 5. That's my 5.
Yeah.
And I think Rock With You is the perfect Michael Jackson song for the age that he was at that time. Like, you couldn't have written a more perfect song.
Get on the Floor is a personal favorite of mine too.
Love that record too.
Yeah.
And you know, rest in peace to Rod Temperton. He wrote most of those songs I mentioned.
Look, he wrote a lot of that.
Rock With You and Off the Wall. I think that the Johnson Brothers was Get on the Floor. Michael and the Johnson Brothers.
Sounds like the Johnson Brothers. It's funky.
Yeah, that bass line was crazy.
Yeah, that's what I
mean. But the numbers game, man, and the way that people are scoring these #1s, and I know we were really pushing for records to get charted and, you know, for the fans to support their artists. But maybe that's why I've been less than enthused about it, because I know that these numbers just ain't coming out right. Like, it just doesn't. The Baby changed me. You know what I'm saying? When I saw how big The Baby was, and then when he went on stage, said what he said, and the mainstream media canceled him and his numbers just fell off a cliff. I'm like, the fans ain't doing that. Something else is going on. It don't make sense.
One day the person that's responsible for this is going to be exposed.
I think one of the big things is, and we learned this from station head.
Somebody's responsible.
Yeah. There's always a responsible person. We learned this from station head, though. If we do a station head, we play a song, we got 400 people in the room, it counts for 400 streams. So what does that count like when it comes to commercial radio? When they have a broad, a bandwidth of reaching 1 million people, and let's just say Hot 97, for example. Let's just say there's 200,000 people listening to the radio station at one time for whatever reason. If Flex plays a record, does that get it 200,000 streams? Or if that radio station's playing that same record 10, 15 times a day, what does that do for the streams?
We don't know anymore.
I don't know. And so does that add legitimacy to the number? Because honestly, it wasn't that many people really listening to it. It was just somebody with a big, megaphone, for lack of a better term, that was playing it.
We don't know what real fans look like till you show up to the city.
Exactly.
You don't know how
and that's what's even more confusing to people, and they're seeing these OGs go out here and sell out arenas.
Well, they've had followings in so many cities for such a long time that they know that they can go galvanize a venue, as opposed to somebody like, if you're only 5 to 7 years into your career, and you've only been really big for about 3 or 4 years, and you've only really toured like on major tours, like let's say maybe 2 or 3 times. That's not like having a Snoop or a Wu-Tang or a Nas or a Jay or a Eminem or a Lil Wayne fan base. That's not the same fucking thing.
Yeah, it actually hurts the younger artists.
It does.
And, it doesn't give them the opportunity to build a fan base. I mean, look
Mike,
at Lil Baby.
I told you, Mike, they're more slaves now than they've ever been, because you have to be a slave to so many different compartmentalized parts of the game now. Like, no, you got to be a slave to the branding. You got to be a slave to the marketing. You got to be a slave to social media. You got to be a slave to the local artists. You got to be like, you a slave to so many different things just to be in that position, that it's like, that's why most of the game is independent, because it's like, man, you asked me to be a slave to about 12 different things. I think I'm just going to push this merch myself.
I think radio play still matters. I guess when it comes to numbers.
Relatively in that relationship, but that's where, okay, so radio used to matter on so many more levels than the numbers, and now it's just about the numbers, and that's what's wrong with radio.
You would think that somebody of Quavo's status would have done more numbers than he did. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying, though, is that, like, well, first of all, what does his fan base really look like?
Yeah, as a solo artist.
Like, yeah, this I mean, not be funny, this ain't 1998 and Bobby Brown leaving New Edition.
Well, this is what I will say. I think that if Quavo would have bit the bullet, for lack of a better term, put together a song with Offset and made that his first single, and the song with Future is dope, actually, I think that song would have definitely helped out.
But this is what I'm saying. So, and sometimes we get Atlanta skewed, Mike. It's like, no. Quavo? I mean, Mike, Quavo is not... How about this? Offset and Cardi doing a project together gonna move more units than Quavo.
Of course.
They're more of a thing.
Yeah.
So he might be the reason that the Migos existed. He might be the group leader. He might have kept them together for all these years. But as a solo artist, Mike, what does his fan base look like? Not the Migos fan base.
I don't know if his fan base is as strong as Gunna's fan base as a solo artist.
It's not. You would think it's comparable because of the Migos records and because of who he is. But the reality of the matter is that that's not really true. And that's what's funny about today's era now.
Somebody said radio is dead. And, coming into this podcast, I would agree. But radio is still around for a reason, right? People are still putting money into radio. Radio still has the ability to bump up the numbers clearly. So I can't say radio is completely dead. Radio doesn't move the needle or give you the new shit anymore. Yes.
Tom Joyner and Steve Harvey still doing morning shows?
Yeah.
You know how big their followings are? So like for the 3 minutes that they might actually play some actual music, you know how many, like, you know what I'm saying, quote unquote streams that would be? Like that's that's still invaluable help.
They have a bandwidth. You know what I'm saying? Like radio will be dead when they when they knock down the towers. That's when radio would officially be dead.
I mean, radio will be dead when the manipulation that's going on with the independent artists really like comes to the light, and you have to start. You know, this shit working like the boxing commission, Mike. There really ain't no checks and balances. You really don't know who to ask about these things. It's like, who is the source on like finding out how all of the numbers work?
Exactly.
Because the rules literally keep changing every 2-3 years.
They change so much, nobody's the source.
And this is what make people feel like it's some Illuminati shit. It's like, are all the heads of these major record labels, like, you know, colluding behind closed doors to keep money out of the artists' pockets? Because it would seem so.
Well, the reason why, in my opinion, an artist like a Taylor Swift is so colossal is because of radio. Even this most recent Beyonce effort, Renaissance, radio helped to push that album. Like, the internet wasn't going to be playing Cuff It Up or whatever if radio wasn't playing it like that. Radio pushed that narrative. Same thing with Taylor. It's like, radio is there for those things. Now, radio's not going to break an artist for you anymore. No, that's not going to happen. But for the people who've been around forever, they're going to make sure that they get their numbers. They're going to make sure that, you know, their numbers are solid. And that's why, you know, when KD3 came out, I had an issue with Hot 97 not doing their part for one of their legends. You know what I'm saying? That's what radio is here for now. It's not here to break the new guys. Jay Short with the Super Chat says Motown was finessing Rick James in the 80s. They were selling albums directly to mom and pops without tracking. They claim that he was only a gold. It was one, They claim that he has only one gold album. That's crazy. I heard the same thing was happening with Rapper's Delight over there at Sugar Hill Records. I hear that, you know, things weren't calculated right. That record sold way more than they said it sold.
So this is what I mean. So how about this? When I used to work at the record store, there used to be another record store, but they didn't work the way that we work. They didn't have the business integrity that they did. We were both mom and pop stores, essentially. But that mom and pop store, like, they did things a little bit differently. You know what I'm saying? So It's like that part of the game exists. My boss used to send me in there to get stuff early that they weren't allowed to sell. You know what I mean? So if they're selling it early, guess what, Mike? How are you tracking if it's getting sold early? You can't track it. So that store used to sell copies to the entire south side of Charlotte, you know, like early. And everybody, we all knew where to go get it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so it's like, yeah, there's that part of the game too.
Shit, there was a place I used to go to like that too. Get it off the truck. Gritty with the Super Chat says, labels buying stream farms just like TikTok. I mean, yeah, the stream farms exist, and if you believe the stream farms exist, you have to believe that from an algorithm standpoint, they can get records going around. You can get a challenge going around. And I think one of the most incredible things that I've seen, and I think I've talked about on the show before, is the fact that Miguel has a #1 song out now that is a 13-year-old song. The song is 13 years old. Song he made 12, 13 years ago because of a TikTok challenge, it's #1. And when record labels see that they can mess with the algorithms and make a song that's 10 years old a hit again, that's dangerous. Because it's like, I don't need a new artist. Let's go back in this catalog. There's a lot of quality songs that should have been hits that weren't. Let's get this shit revamped.
I told you,
That's
Mike.
it.
I told you, Mike. Last year, I was looking at my daughter, and all of a sudden, "Pretty Brown Eyes" came on her TikTok, and she started singing the words. I was like, "What are you?" I was like, "If I played that song too much?" She was like, "No." She's like, "It's gone viral on TikTok." I was like, "Pretty Brown Eyes has gone viral on TikTok." She's like, "Yeah, all the kids in high school are singing it."
Dot with the Super Chat says,
like, wild.
Nas went from selling almost 50,000 in 2020 to not even selling 20,000 2.5 years later. Something ain't right. I agree. Because everybody who was involved in that 50,000, you would think that they were engaged throughout the whole series, right? It's not like it's any lack of coverage. The coverage just strengthened, really. I feel like that gap is the lack of radio. And I think that radio support bumps up these numbers, man. It has to. Because if our station heads are accounting for like 400, 500 streams per play, imagine what a major radio station's accounting for, not only playing the record once, but playing that shit 20 times a day.
No, because imagine what would just happen if those 500 people that were like in the station head shared it with somebody else, and they listened to it. It's like, no, that'd be 1,000 streams for an artist and just like chain of, a
Yeah.
chain. You know what I mean?
And just 2 plays. And that's not even with us being on
And here's what's
all
crazy.
day.
And here's what's crazy about it, because you can go back and play the shows over. It's just like playing the radio. It's like you can literally put it in the background and press play.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Antonio with the super chat says Prince called out album sales as well. He said Purple Rain in particular sold way more than we were being told. It wasn't just that album though, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
And when Prince said that and actually questioned the auditing system, I was like, I've never heard anybody speak like that, but it makes sense. It's like, I don't know how many records this album sold. I just know what they told me.
Well, how about this? If you go look at the numbers that the movie did and then go look at the albums that he sold, it's like, no, that shit still don't add up. You know
I
what I'm saying?
understand what people are saying when they're saying that people don't listen to the radio anymore, but it's not about people listening to the radio. It's about their reach. You know what I'm saying? Like, if their reach is a certain amount, that's going to calculate still.
And here's what people have to underestimate, still need to take account for, is that, well, you don't listen to the radio still. Most of the people that are like inside music or big music fans maybe aren't into radio like that anymore. But
I don't listen to the radio.
But there are whole factions of people. Like, for instance, like my mother plays nothing but gospel music on the radio all the time. All the time. She's not streaming anything.
This is the way business works, Coop, and we've seen it with many
radio
stations.
You know what I'm saying? My mama not streaming nothing.
Yeah.
She on the radio playing her gospel music.
Yeah.
And there are plenty of other mamas like her. You feel what I'm saying? Waking up, driving to work, listening to these morning shows and listening to whatever music it is that they choose to play for us. So it's like when people are saying radio is dead, radio's only dead in your world.
Yeah, exactly.
There's
and I was
a reason
say,
it still exists.
At the end of the day, and we've seen this in the radio business, there's been stations get shut down, right? If people weren't listening to radio anymore, those stations would be gone.
They wouldn't be here.
And the jobs would be gone. Like, they wouldn't be able to pay an Ebro. They wouldn't be able to pay a Laura Stiles or Rosenberg because they wouldn't have the money to do so. The advertisers wouldn't be there if people weren't listening to it. Right. It is what it is. So somebody's listening to it. Like you said, you don't listen to it. I don't listen to it. But we can't acknowledge the fact that, we can't deny the fact that people are still listening to it. It's not completely dead.
What's wrong with
it's not as strong as it once was, but it's not dead.
What's wrong with the people in the 15% is they sometimes don't understand that they in the 15%, and there's a whole 85% out there, Mike. You know, when you're in the 15%, you righteous. That don't make you right. There's a whole 85% out there.
Yeah.
You feel me? And so most of the people that say radio is dead, we understand you're in a 15%, not an 85%.
I think my thing with the whole radio thing and even bringing it up is the fact that radio has, for lack of a better term, inflated the numbers in a way where we're thinking certain people are doing more numbers than they are. Like, people are confused with the fact that the hottest artist or the one that's doing the numbers isn't doing the shows that some of the OGs are doing. And that's because these numbers are slightly inflated.
I'm wondering what the next change is going to be, Mike, because if the game is being played this way, like you're saying, well, there's a cycle of artists that really like Mike, name an artist under 30 that you could see getting played the way Drake does in hip-hop sphere or Adele in the pop sphere. Where is that person? That person doesn't exist anymore because of how the game exists. And so what this game is running the risk of doing is having it turned on its head very, very soon when these artists who fit perfectly into this version of the machine stop producing.
Yeah.
But they have shown that they will continue to change the game in whatever ways that it behooves them to make it work for them, even at the dilapidation of the artist, the dilapidation of the music. It's a problem. It's very problematic.
What Russ and NBA YoungBoy are doing is so hip-hop. Right? These guys don't get any radio play. They got fans. They selling out wherever they go. They're making money, and they're doing it without the machine. And like you said, the machine's didn't make Russ. The machine didn't make NBA YoungBoy. I'm going to be honest with you, man. I can't name NBA YoungBoy songs like that.
Russ should be on the radio.
That man he got fans out of this world.
Russ shit should be on the radio right now. Like that Santiago album, he got about 3 or 4 joints. He got 3 or 4 joints on there that belong on radio.
He's independent. They're not going to play him.
They're not going to do it.
You know what I'm saying? And I think at some point, and I don't know when we get to that point, and I guess that's when we know radio will be on its last leg. They're going to have to start supporting the independent artists like a Russ. Not saying every independent artist, but the people who are able to create their own buzz to this degree, they're gonna have to bite the bullet and understand that the days of them making a hip hop star, I think, are over. I mean, who do you think is the last hip hop star that the Machine created?
I mean, we've been having the Jack Harlow conversation, Mike.
That didn't go well.
The last project was dope, but it hasn't come to fruition. Even with the movie role, even with the dope project.
Yeah. I mean, they were projecting once again, and I'm not calling out Ebro. I just, this is one of the radio shows that I actually watch because Ebro knows his shit. But I remember when Harlow got on Ebro in the morning, and Ebro was telling Harlow that he's out of here. He's like, it's probably the last time we're going to interview you because you're about to be super big. Somebody told them that that's what this was going to be, and it didn't work out like that because the people didn't respond in that faction. I think that was their attempt to make the next star, but it didn't work. I think Cardi B might be the last time I could think that they were able to do that.
How many rap albums she make?
She got one. She said she's working on one now.
That's part of how you know that the game is dying a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Because if it was lucrative, they would keep her out there.
If it was lucrative for her, she'd stay out there.
Mm-hmm. Antonio with the super chat says those numbers ain't real without inflation. Push.
Right.
All right. Well, I guess we can get up out of here in a second, man.
Trap music, Mount Rushmore.
Oh, trap music, Mount Rushmore.
Who's on there?
T.I. put himself, Future, I think it was Gucci and Jeezy.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have any discrepancies.
I don't have any rebuttal for that. Yeah. He right.
Unless we want to go producers or whatever. The only person that might be a blaring omission is 2 Chainz. Do you think that 2 Chainz has done more sonically for the trap music subgenre than T.I. has?
No. Chainz has got a lot of records. T.I.'s got the records and the albums and the mixtapes.
But I don't know. I just don't feel like his stuff sounds like
You think it's bigger? You think T.I. sound is bigger than?
Yeah, I think T.I. has more of a, like, You Don't Know Me's not.
He made trap music.
I feel like T.I., and I say this respectfully, you know how highly I regard T.I., right? And I would love to interview T.I. here as well. But
ditto.
I think T.I. is the most rounded MC that the South's ever seen. I think that all things considered, I think he has to be the number one MC out of Atlanta.
Yes.
But I also feel like, or Big Boy, but, just what he's done on a solo level, I have to give it to him.
Yeah.
But I just don't feel like, I feel like he made an album called Trap Music that didn't really push that subgenre far. I think that other people kind of took up that mantle and really pushed it far. You know what I mean?
You can say the same thing about Jeezy though too, Mike, because it's like really like Trap or Die 1 and Trap or Die 2 are his like trap albums. Because Thug Motivation 101 isn't like a trap album like that to me. It's like it's got And Then What with Manny Fresh, Go Crazy. It's like it's got some stuff.
Right.
Like Standing Ovation's my shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But it's like Jeezy wasn't always making records like that either. So it's like if you really wanted to go local with it, Mike, there's guys outside of Jeezy and T.I. and maybe even Chainz. You know what I mean? I think Gucci is the one that you probably most identify with the sound and the style down here. I think it would be Gucci that like identifies the most.
Right.
But I would probably pick that 4 too. I would.
Let's see. I think we got a couple super chats. Jay Short says Master P not a trap rapper. That's a good point. Kendra with a super chat says, what you make of Taylor Swift going Jamie Dimon on tour? I don't know. Not sure what that means.
I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah. I don't really know what that means.
We need to talk about is Drake dropping?
He said soon.
Okay. He's not
he
dropping.
Give a date.
Yeah, he's not dropping. Okay. There's a feature on the album that people are gonna love if it makes the cut.
Yeah.
I can't tell you.
Sounds like you got some inside information.
I know a little bit. I don't know a lot. Should talk about this Muggs next time too.
Oh yeah.
No, I mean not the record, the whole joint. Like we need time to like dig on the whole joint. The West Side and the Ghostface joint I've heard, but we need to listen to the whole thing.
Yeah. I think we can do that Monday.
Well,
definitely.
we need to pull up on Muggs too. Muggs has actually done a lot of work since we've been doing this show.
You're right.
We haven't given him his due. We might want to like dedicate like a big portion of maybe Monday to Muggs and just like all the stuff Muggs has been doing.
I'm with that
we haven't covered during this pandemic because Muggs has been putting in work at like an Alchemist type pace, Hit-Boy type pace as a producer while this has been going on. And we frequently talked about Hit-Boy and Alchemist, but we haven't talked about Muggs, and we need to because Muggs is the one who taught Alchemist.
Yep.
Cypress Hill.
Before we get out of here, though, you sent me a message where Shay and Love are dropping a joint album.
Yeah, Shay Noir and Love the Genius are dropping a joint project. They don't have a name for it. They like Shay was actually on. They were actually on Twitter. Like what should we name it?
What do you think?
I don't know. Something poetic.
Yeah, like, I don't want to just go off the cuff. I need to think about
like Love Day Noir. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? I never really loved when artists put, and no pun intended, when artists put their names in an album.
No, Alfredo, Mike, Alchemist and Freddie Gibbs. Alfredo. That's what I'm saying. It's
well,
like I love it when
that's different. I'm thinking of like Evolution and shit that. Right, you know what I'm saying? Like I think that's so. Tongue in cheek. Jay Short with the super chat says P had an album called Ghetto D and Ice Cream Man. Why did he get shade from you, Mike? No shade. I think that Master P could be considered trap music. That's my whole problem with this whole, T.I. being trap music, because that opens up a whole can of worms, because I think sonically he didn't make what we consider trap music. Because then I'll be like, okay, well, is UGK trap music? Is Master P trap music? Is Ready to Die trap music? Is Reasonable Doubt trap music? Is it about the subject or is it about the sonics?
We should ask T.I.
We should. And I would love to have that conversation with him.
I mean, because he made
I know
music.
He'll turn up on me and be like,
he made trap music. He made Dope Boys in the Trap.
This is what he was saying.
He's on Dope Boy Fresh.
He is. He would say before whatever date trap music came out, no, trap music didn't have a name.
He's right. Because the only time I heard it mentioned like that was, like you said, Cujo on Thought Process. All the times I was stuck in the trap.
Yep.
And C-Bone on Gangsta Shit. Dope Boys in the Trap like to stack the dope.
I feel like Big Boy said it too.
Oh, Spody Odie.
Yeah.
Spody Odie.
Yeah. He caught in the trap.
So it's been our terminology down here for a while.
The Dungeon family started a lot of stuff that they don't get credit for.
They started most of the stuff.
Throwback jerseys.
Yeah.
I love when Kanye was breaking down that he brought throwback jerseys to New York, to Baseline, because he saw Big Boy with the Astros jersey. He went down to Lenox Mall. We all know this. You know what I mean? People in the city. He went to Lenox Mall. There was a Mitchell & S store there. I remember exactly where it was. It was like right near the entrance, second level. I think was Nike Town over there at that point? Something was over there.
Nike store still over
there.
But
yeah, I remember exactly where that was. And he was like, I went in there, got me some throwbacks, and I went up to Baseline, and then niggas start wearing throwbacks up there.
Yeah, it's really Big Boy.
It all starts with Big Boy. Shout out to Big Boy. Another person we should interview.
Shout out to Big Boy.
Is there anything else that we need to cover before we get up out of here? I think that's most of my notes.
Yeah. No, I think we're good. Talk some Muggs next week.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk some Muggs next week. Hopefully we get some new music this Friday. I'm still looking for a date on that Benny the Butcher and
it started to cross my mind too. I thought that was supposed to drop in August. August is over pretty much.
Yeah, it should be coming soon, right?
We shall see.
We shall see. All right, well, hit like and subscribe. Join the tribe, A2HH Live. Man, appreciate y'all joining us, and we're going to see y'all Monday. All right. And we are out. Dope Boys in the